Welcome to All Considered with the illustrious Dr. Crystal Heath, DVM, and Skyjack Morgan. Talk about animals from a science-based perspective. Let's do it. Welcome to the show. Hey, how are you? How you doing, Crystal Doctor? How you doing, Dr. Crystal Heath?
Good.
Hello?
I saw 3 deers today. So that was cool. Can you not hear me now
I
anymore?
can hear you. I don't know, but you were like you weren't answering as quickly as I thought you would. So I was like, "Hello?" Maybe I lost you. You saw 3 deer.
Sorry. Yeah, that's cool.
Where did you see the 3 deer?
Yeah, and I got at the Hollywood Reservoir.
Oh yeah, they run around over there.
You're freezing. I don't know what's happening. My internet. I need to close some windows or something. Am I losing you?
I don't know. It's not happening on my end. I have full strength, I think. I've got full strength.
Okay.
I think I'll close something here. I'll close Word, see if that helps.
I'm gonna.
But well, all being considered, we're going to talk about some fun stuff today. We're going to talk about the AgNet West. We're going to talk about the what are we going to talk about? We've got the USDA making all these payments to California dairies. We're going to talk about Iowa farmers. We're going to talk about Hickman's coming back. We're going to talk about baboons in Germany. We really are covering all of our bases this time around, I think. But today we're going to start with what's going on with these dairies in California. What do you think, Crystal?
Yeah, sounds good if I can get my internet to work. So we were teasing this on Friday with Andrew DeCoriolis, and he uncovered some data showing how much these dairies in California were getting, and really actually nationwide, how much they were getting. And he found that in California, at least, the Department of Agriculture distributed over $230 million in emergency relief payments, according to the Los Angeles Times. This highly pathogenic avian influenza has impacted more than 75% of the state's 1,000 dairy farms since August 2024. The virus has infected cattle and caused severe declines in milk production across the region. And this, here we go. They say, between November 2024 and June 2025, the USDA made 644 payments to 359 California dairy farms. And we know there's more than 359 dairy farms affected. So we're probably going to pay out a lot more money. If that was just 231 million, double that at least. So we're going to have to pay another $231 million.
So they said there were like 1,000 dairy, I think, in the article. There's around 1,000 dairies, and 75% of them are affected.
Yeah, more than 700 have been affected. So, yeah, we're going to see another couple $100 million payouts. The average payout for farm was approximately $645,000, with payment amounts ranging from $2,058 to $4.4 million. I mean, damn, you could buy a couple of houses with that.
Yeah, I'd happily buy a couple houses with that for a bunch of people. I could build buildings for that in small towns and put houseless people in them.
How many animals could we spay and neuter with that money?
Good point. Yeah, I'm sorry. I always think about the homeless problem when I think about how much money we spend. I always think about that because I feel like I was talking about it earlier today, and we were saying, like, is it ethical to allow people? We were talking about Gaza. We're talking about starvation in the world again. As comes up, and I was like, is it ethical to allow 800 million human beings on planet Earth to live in danger of starvation when there's plenty of food to go around? And I think about that every time I hear about a number like that. I go, well, how many people could we feed with that? How many people could we put in houses for that?
Yeah.
Wild.
I think, okay, what are basic rights that we should be giving all living beings on the planet Earth? And I think the right to a home, habitat, right to food, medical care, water. Yeah.
Yeah, like life,
Maybe quick and
liberty, and
painless
pursuit of
death.
happiness. Yeah. I'm with you. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for all beings. I think that makes sense. Let's consider all beings moral, give all beings
But
consider moral. Yeah. Moral
right
consideration.
now, we're only considering the interests of corporations, and we're
Mm.
making sure that they're protected, and that's what this shows right here. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah, so
when we send all this money to them, what's it for? All these the CEO of Western United Dairies. What's he doing with all the money? Anya, or she? Is it a
Anya,
woman? Anya
yeah.
Rodabach. See,
Remember, I've
you
like
say that women don't make it to lofty positions in America. Anya
she's our
Rodabach.
skinny white woman head of the cult. Like
Oh, she is.
that's she's the skinny white woman cult leader or
Mm.
cult legitimizer is what her role is. And you've seen me on the news, and I give my talking points and she gives her talking points. We
Yes.
exchange talking points back and forth. And she says weathering the storm has only been possible with the assistance of the milk loss payments. Don't you wish everybody who went through hard times had that?
Yeah, I wish that I could think of many times in my life where I fell on a little bit of hard times, and I wish that someone swooped in and wrote me a check. That would have been wonderful.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
funding has helped dairy communities and workers remain stable and healthy while the industry awaits approval for a dairy cow vaccine. And here they're just waiting for the next standout, which is the dairy cow vaccine.
There, it's perfect.
Um,
The next handout. I feel like, their Uncle Sam treats them a lot differently than my Uncle Sam. My Uncle Sam never hooks me up,
mhm.
but their Uncle Sam he's quick with the checks. He's willing to give
Yeah.
them whatever they want. They just cry a little bit and they get a check from Uncle Sam. Me, I'm on my knees all the time. They don't give me nothing.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's
Tough being a
okay.
white man in America, I guess.
It's tough being a white man who isn't
Tough be how tall are you, sir?
I'm too tall. I'm too
You're
tall to complain, but
6'4", blue eyes.
yes.
Don't work in finance
I
though.
should have worked in finance. I'm looking for a man who's 6'5", blue eyes. Yeah, I should have worked in finance. That's what I should have done. I guess, yeah, that's
Mhm.
the thing. Not all white men are created equal either in the eyes of
Yeah,
the
that's
of
true.
Uncle Sam. But you're right. I do have privilege, but not as much as a dairy farmer.
Nope. Man, I was okay. Yesterday's surgery audiobook was The Jungle, and oh my god,
I wanted
that
to
is
listen to that with you when we drove up north.
expressing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't listen to you with it because that I'm still to this day. I think I'm a little depressed today from
Because of the
having
jungle.
listened to that yesterday. It's awful. And it's not just about the slaughterhouse, but about this family that
Mhm.
works there
Mhm.
and what they suffer, and it's so relatable to today. It's like, "Oh, the same thing is happening right now,"
It's as if
and these
nothing has
poor
changed.
people, they have no safety net.
Mhm.
I mean, I think there's, like, minor differences that it's a little bit better. I don't think people are gonna freeze to death on the streets of Chicago. Well, maybe some people do, like, some people who
People
are
still
drug
freeze
addicts
on not just
still
drug
do,
addicts, they're just stuck. I mean, people get
but
stuck out there. I mean, people die in New
yeah,
York every year if they still get frozen outside every year.
I mean,
Maybe
the at
less
least
these days because of
there's, like,
global climate
Social
change.
Security, there's food stamps, there's food banks,
Mhm.
little bit more than that they had back then, but man, oh, so and I the boss, I don't know if you've read it,
Oh, I read it, but I read
but
it about 30 years
spoiler
ago, but I
alert
remember it. Or I mean, yeah, don't you could spoil it for me. I mean, the book
spoiler
is
alert
about
for anyone who
100 years old.
100 years old.
Yeah.
The fact that the boss basically forces himself onto the wife and the husband work well, I
Right.
don't even know they're married, but they're partners
Right, they're
and they
together.
wanna get married,
Mhm.
and she works too, and this fucking boss, like, basically says, "If you don't sleep with me, you and your husband and your boyfriend or whatever are not gonna be able to work in this town again, and you will
Yeah.
have nothing." And so she does, and she hides it from her
From her
her
partner,
partner,
from her dude.
who
Yeah.
then like finds out, and he punches the guy and ends up in prison. And then when he gets out of prison, like their house is owned by somebody else and he has no idea where his family is.
Mm-hmm.
And just that the way he tells that like emotional story, where it's like, here are people put in it. Like, what is she supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? Like, and it sucks. Like how they threw this guy in prison for punching this guy
Mm-hmm.
when like he deserved it. And oh man, it's fucking with my brain, that
Oh my
whole book.
gosh, I love the fact that you're reacting this way to it. Most people don't even like. It's funny because I think what you're saying sounds just as modern today. We have these problems.
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's still happening to this day.
Yeah.
People still don't understand why did she sleep with him, or why did he punch that guy? Like he should have known better. He should have like, you
Mm-hmm.
don't understand if you're not in that position. Oh my God.
Right,
Yeah.
and also she's just one level up from the animals, right? I mean, they're working
Yeah.
in a meat packing yard, right? I think they're in the Union packing yard in Chicago, maybe. I forget where they're in Chicago,
Yeah.
right?
The
And
stockyards, the Chicago stockyards.
right, the Chicago
Mm.
stockyards. And supposedly, that the book changed so much, but I don't think much has changed.
No.
We're still in this hierarchy where people have no choice. You're working only by threat of starvation. And Upton Sinclair was a communist and maybe an anarchist, an anarcho-communist or something. And people say that the book is one of the greatest communist pieces of propaganda, because it makes
Wow.
people because it's an honest piece of work. I was well researched and all of that, but it's told from the perspective of the worker who's being exploited, and kind of about the animals who are being exploited too. And it's yeah, listening to you talk
Yeah.
about it just sounded like, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about Marxism. I'm thinking about why capitalism is broken. Why hasn't it changed? Why are CEOs and these types of people still forcing themselves on women and coercing them
And he
into
talks about that too. It's like
Mhm.
the people who were the worst people rose to the top. And if
Yeah.
you were like a good person just trying to do things honestly, you were going to get chewed up and spit out by the system.
Hmm.
And the way he tells it,
If
it's
you
just like
survive at all.
so good. It's
Yeah.
so good. And then how but the act of buying a house is what really did them in, which I is so relatable. I am the I have spoken to people of various wealth classes throughout my life.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
wealthy people always recommend, do not buy a house.
Yeah.
Do not buy a house, invest in stocks. And to this day, I will not buy a house. I have my money in stocks and,
There's
funds,
lots of
because
people who say,
it
once you buy a house, you're stuck. But I
you're
mean,
stuck.
for poor people, it might be the only way out. Like, I'm really fortunate that my mother
Oh,
bought a
no.
house, but like at the same
Yeah.
time, she didn't have any stock. So it is everything that I
Yeah.
have is in the house. And if I lose the
And you still have a
house,
mortgage on it, and you still have to
of
pay
course.
for they talk about all of the
Mhm.
like, the roof, you get leaks, and you have to fix that, and then the insurance, and all of these extra costs that they had no idea that they had to pay,
You don't know that all that
and
other stuff that's coming, the HOA and the roof and the all the
mm-mm,
totally, and you just don't see it, so you gotta be super careful, because if anything happens, or a fire, for the love of God, like, this is when people see
mhm,
fire, like in Paradise, California, and everyone lost their homes, like, forget about the
yeah,
Palisades, Altadena, where working class people just saved up and bought houses, and now those houses are gone. That's everything
yeah,
they had. They have no backup plan. Everything that they had ever earned went into the house, and
mhm,
if you lose it, you lost everything you ever earned. Now, you could say the same thing about someone who's renting, right? Someone who's renting loses everything they pay for rent. Yeah, but you're not paying any, you're not carrying any liability, and you're not fixing the roof. You're not doing these things like you just said.
yeah. You
Um,
save so much money by, like, minimizing your housing expenses,
mhm.
like I live in a 1-bedroom apartment as a 43-year-old woman. That it will ensure my security later on in life. Like
Yes.
I am not living this suburban lifestyle of having a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house somewhere that's, eating up a quarter of my paycheck every month. I am
Yeah.
very small percentage of my paycheck goes to my housing, and I can save so much more because of
That's the
that.
ideal, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
But that's not the American dream. The American dream is to buy your own house so that no one can take it away from you later. And that is kind of
Yeah.
like, it's just a different plan. Like when I'm old, if I manage to pay this thing off, I'll at least have
Yeah.
that covered. I won't have to pay for a house. I'll just have to pay taxes. And that is something that maybe Social Security could actually pay for. So it's just a different
Yeah.
strategy. Hopefully, the 401k will come back and it'll be able to pay for the taxes and the upkeep. But yeah, in the jungle, they address that, and I love it. That all the different traps that capitalism has
Yeah.
laid for all the working class people. Yeah. What do you think about the animal stuff, though? For all beings considered, all of the
I
how
mean,
they
it's the
describe the
same.
inspectors. Yes.
It's the exact same. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
they even talk about inspectors here. It's
Hmm.
nothing has changed
Yeah.
since Upton Sinclair's The Jungle.
That's
And
right. It's so many times when they go and do these exposés, they're like, "Yeah, we haven't we've barely updated the USDA inspection. We've barely changed anything since the jungle." It's
now we
crazy.
kill pigs in gas chambers instead of stunning them. So in that way, it's worse for the
Yes.
pigs than it used to be in the jungle. And maybe I'll have to put that in my book too. Like the
Hmm.
just comparing the jungle to we want to veterinarians have been led to believe that we are so much farther ahead than what
Yeah.
we had in the jungle, but we are actually not. No way. And now veterinarians are the ones who are in debt and struggling, and we just a lot of vets. I don't I we have to teach people how to get themselves out of poverty. And how it's just like I I see on these the Not One More Vet message board or the
Hmm.
Facebook group. One vet's like, is anybody else 100% have 100% debt to income ratio? And I'm like, that's nothing. And
Yeah.
she's like, I am just struggling by if you're $200,000 in debt, you make $200,000 a year. Man, if you're not paying that off in a year and a half, I don't know
Hmm.
what's wrong with you. You can live off of $50,000 a year and put, $100,000 a year toward your debt and be done.
If you make
So
$50,000 a year, or you mean you live off fifty thousand
okay,
dollars a year?
say you're a veterinarian, you graduate and you make $200,000 a year. You can,
Yeah.
and you're $200,000 a year in debt. Like,
Yeah.
you can live off of $40,000, whatever.
Yeah. People can. Yeah.
Put the rest of your money towards your debt. 2 years, you'll be paid off. Less than 2 years. And
Yeah.
then if you live like that for a little bit longer, you will have a lot of savings.
Hmm.
Like, your
More than most
goal should
people.
be, as a veterinarian, you can amass $1,000,000 with your income pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Do it and stop worrying and quit your fucking job if you hate it and do something else. Like,
With a
I
million
don't know.
dollars, what's that thing? The FU money, right? There's the
Mhm.
if you have a year's worth, even 6 months. If you have 6 months of all of your expenses in the bank, you have some FU money.
Yeah.
You could tell anybody to go
Okay.
f themselves. Yeah,
Yes,
I think.
okay, Dave Ramsey's, like, snowball thing, save $1,000, then throw
Mhm.
everything you have towards your debt, pay off your debt, then amass 6 months of savings,
Yeah,
and then I don't know what else he says, then throw everything at your house or something like that. I don't know
yeah.
what is but makes
You get
sense.
you get 6 months of your savings, and then you throw everything back
Mhm.
at the house. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think, or whatever big debts you have, cars,
And then, like
houses, like stuff like that.
well, no, I think honestly, I think it's just he wants you to have $1,000, um $1,000 in savings, and that's it. And then with that, throw everything else, towards your debt.
I wonder
Everything
how we
extra.
feel like, but mortgage is like, if you're paying, if the mortgage is your biggest part of your debt, then I don't know. I guess it's difficult, right? Because you want to pay off that house as quickly as possible. Like if I could double payment, that's the idea.
Yeah.
That's the dream, right? Double pay on your mortgage and then get it done as quickly as possible. But are you going to read, now that you've read The Jungle, are you going to
Yeah.
read the trilogy? Because he wrote 2 more from the same
I don't think I can.
series.
I'm almost to the end of The Jungle. I don't think I can. I don't think I can read more. It's so depressing. There's not a shred of happiness in it, and I
It
can't
ends with
do
a
it
little bit
anymore.
of hope. I think there's a little hope in the end. I
I don't
barely
think there is.
I
No, I
I
think they all
barely read.
die. I don't know. It's
They all just
horrifying.
die. I think there's a little
Um,
hope in the end. But he wrote 2 more. He wrote one called Oil, which people know from the film There Will
oh
Be
yeah, There
Blood.
Will Be Blood. Yeah,
But, they
I
kinda
might. Oh
threw
God,
out,
I don't
but
know if
There
I
Will Be
can do
Blood was basically, they almost threw out the book. Like, they based it on the book and then, like, didn't really pay much attention to the book. There's not much
that. Yeah.
similarity. And then the other one I haven't read, but it's called, The Money Changers, which is again about debts, and something you might actually like a lot because it's about money changers. It's about usury. You know,
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I make 200,
okay.
I make 20K some dollars a year
We got to
and
get your
owe
income
between
up. How are we going to get
300K.
your income up with your advanced degrees? That's what we got to get you to do. There are so many opportunities out there to use your advanced degrees to make lots of money. Even if you're like just, people make lots of money on TikTok. People make $400 a day picking cherries during harvest season. So that's
They
another
do.
option.
But,
There's a lot of ways you can double your current income right now, even as an Uber driver, even cleaning houses. You could easily double your income right now. Um, as somebody who, like, when I graduated vet school, people would always like laugh at me because they're like, "You're doing all of these random things to make money." Like I was house sitting, had my online business, like
Mhm.
they're like, "You have your fingers in every pot." I'm like, "Yes, I want to pay off my debt as fast as I possibly can." I paid it off in 5 years. So,
That's pretty
you
good.
can
Most
do it.
people pay for their entire lives. Yeah, I guess people can do it. Plus, you were lucky you never got married and did the whole kids thing. So
Yeah, don't
that
do
helps a
it.
lot. Yeah, I mean,
Don't get
I
married, don't have kids, don't buy a house.
getting married definitely did a number on my
Mhm.
financial prospects, but that was a whole other story. But I wasn't able, like, because then you're paying someone else's loans off, and then if it doesn't work out, you're like, oh, I just paid someone else's loans off. That was a nice little trick you did on me. That was fun. So that was,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know what? You live life, you try to make it. But I like Gary
And
Vaynerchuk.
listen
He's always
to
saying,
people who have lived it and have good advice, and follow the people whose lives you admire. Do not take
mhm.
the advice of somebody who you would never want to live their life. Like, so,
I'm with you on that. I'm with
but
you on
yeah,
that.
Gary
Or you
Vaynerchuk, yeah,
Well, Gary Vaynerchuk always says, "Well,
I've
you have
seen
lots
his
of
deal.
time. Like you think that you got, like everyone says, well, you don't have any time." He's like, "Man, you're young. It used to be when you're
Mhm.
50, that was like you're old. Like you're still young. You could still do a hell of a lot. You could start businesses. You can do tons of stuff. It's not like it was. You're still living in your parents' time where 50 is old, and it just isn't anymore. So get out there and rock and roll."
We have, if you live 100 years, that's 118 weeks. So you get about 4,000 weeks in a typical human life. So make use of it.
4,000
Don't
weeks.
spend
That's
your
it.
weeks 4,000 weeks, that's it. Don't
Damn.
waste your time in a job you hate. Um,
Yes.
so
All the
as
time.
a
All the time.
MS in psychology and unfinished uh, PhD, like honestly, if you only make $20,000 a year, you could easily double that, and you'll be a lot better off.
Depending on where
Um,
isn't geography kind of an issue? I mean, it could
then
be
move, move
you could be
to
married. You
place
could
where
have
you can
all
make
these
more money.
there's problems
Divorce
people
and move to Los Angeles where there's prospects and a bright future ahead.
There's prospects and all of that. Yeah.
Thank you. This is the advice show where we give you, actually send in your life problems and we will solve your life problems. Or I will tell you what to do with your life
You
and
never
how to
knew.
get rich.
Before
And live
Crystal
your
was out
dreams.
here sticking it to the industry, she was the how to pay off your debt lady at the
in the vet world. When I was
in the vet
well-respected,
world.
before I like ruined my reputation in the vet world, people would reach out to me and be like, what should I do? You know, everybody, you know, how do I go about this? And I'd give them advice on like what jobs to do and how to pay off their debt. And now people avert their eyes when they see me walking down the hall.
Do they avert their eyes? I hope they don't avert your eyes. I hope their eyes. I hope they come and they ask you, "Hey, aren't you that lady that helps people pay off their loans when they're vets?"
How do I foster that image that I used to have before I became a crazy animal rights activist?
See, lives in the middle of nowhere. Lives in the middle of nowhere.
Move, Elizabeth. What's keeping you from moving? Why do you live there?
I mean, you could always move. That's true. Sell everything.
But it is cheaper probably to live in the middle of nowhere. So maybe some remote gigs. Can you do social media for somebody? Can you write? You got a master's degree, so you can write. So the need right now is people who can write and do
we need people who can write
work. You can easily make $30 an hour doing that. So yeah.
Benny S says, buying a house seems impossible at this point. I feel as if I'll never have a home. Most people feel that way. A lot of people will get homes. It'll just be after the big die-off. You know, I mean, eventually people will be able to buy homes again. It'll just be a while because all of the baby boomers have to die. And then all of the companies that are snatching up single-family homes, BlackRock, they're going to have to, well, pitchforks and guillotines, maybe.
I mean, you heard the BlackRock CEO was killed the other day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like.
And they're saying it wasn't that he was, but they're saying that he wasn't the target.
Yeah, I don't know. I just karma bit in the butt, I guess.
It just died by accident. Very strange thing. Yeah, because he got killed in New York City, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So
$2 million
was that of course the dairy industry gets its interests taken care of, but we don't. We end up out frozen on the streets of Chicago.
We end up frozen on the streets of Chicago because we don't own a dairy. But the dairies, they get $2 million in bailouts. Milk, they reported losses exceeding $2 million in milk income alone. So they get all sorts of $250,000 in added care costs. So we're going to pick up the tab for them. So Uncle Sam is going to take it from you and me, and they're going to give it to the milk industry. It's great.
And the main character guy gets run over by a cow or something, and
he gets hurt in the stockyard. Yeah,
and he can't work for a while, and all this injuries and sicknesses that the average workers go through, and they don't get any income to recover. But the dairy industry, they have this high-risk business model where they pack cows into these facilities, and they get millions of dollars in bailouts when obviously the worst happens.
Well, I mean, the worst happens because of this horrible system that we're all living in. I think everyone should read The Jungle. I remember I had to read it twice. I had to read it in high school. Then maybe I came back to college. I had to read it again. And I was surprised that they made kids read it. Like, I think we should all have to read that book still.
I couldn't comprehend. If I remember that being an option in high school, like English, you could read one of these books and it was like Catcher in the Rye, The Jungle, whatever, Angela's Ashes, like all of these things. And I wouldn't appreciate it reading it as a high schooler, I don't think. Because you have to know about the industry now and how the way things are now or else you don't realize, oh, it's still happening. This is still the way things are. It's not just some historical, oh, things used to be so bad. It's like,
Well,
no.
I guess like if you don't know about the industry, jungle still resonates because it's still about the boss man taking the man's
Mhm.
wife, and that you're existing in this Kafka-esque capitalist cage, that they're in a cage, and that they're no different from the animals. They're also in the
Mhm.
grindhouse. I think that's where you find kind of the context for a teenager to read it, is that when you're a teenager, at least I felt that I'm also stuck in a system that I didn't want to be in. I didn't like
Yeah.
being forced to go, told where to go. A bell rings, I got to go to this place. A bell
Yeah.
rings, I got to go to that place. I hated that part of. I loved school in a way, like I loved learning, but I hated this prison system that we call education, you know? And so I think that would have that's what I think what I got out of it when I was a kid reading The Jungle,
Mhm.
is that I'm just as screwed as these animals are, as just as much as the protagonist of the story too. Like,
Yeah, but wouldn't you be like, I don't know, I would be like, every time I go read those sorts of things, like back in high school, I remember just thinking, man, my life is so good to compared to like what these people had to go through, like into Heart of Darkness.
yeah.
Um, I'm like just so grateful, but there's got to be a point where you like, I think I was 37 years old when I stopped being naive about the world. I used to think
Mm,
like, oh, if you're just honest and most people are good.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I learned, no, people are like
You learned that too late. You learned
warped.
that pretty late,
I
Crystal.
learned it really late in life. I was naive for a long period of time, and then I entered into the real world and
Yeah.
finally, yeah, I realized, oh my gosh, just how people are manipulated by their surroundings and their
Mm.
ideologies, and it's yeah, they are,
I
but
guess
they
that's
believe that they're good, and maybe the boss man believes like he is doing the best job that he can under the system and he's successful, therefore, and this schmuck, um,
Well,
I don't know
an
what he thinks
anarchist
about
an
this poor
anarchist or a
schmuck.
communist might say that the schmuck, or he's not really a schmuck, but the boss, he is turned into a monster as well. Like we study this guy, and he's this villain and this monster of the story, but it's not him. It's this whole system that's turned some people into monsters and some people into victims. And really,
Yeah,
they're all kind of victims. This idea that you can't study a baboon at the zoo because a baboon, once he's in the zoo, doesn't act like a baboon anymore. You can't learn anything
mhm,
about baboons in the zoo. That's why it's really hard when people say things like, well, this is human nature. Well, no, man, nothing is natural about the way we're living. So this idea of what human nature is just BS. We just make that up. This is human nature. We're always like this. Well, we're in a zoo and we're studying humans in a zoo. So I think that there's
but
something there.
primates in the wild are pretty vicious to each other, like,
Yeah.
naturally, like, they fight and they're pretty brutal.
Yeah.
So is that human nature too, to be as brutal as some primates are in the wild?
Some primates,
Um,
not all primates, kill each other like the chimpanzees. They have wars and they kill each other. Like they don't. Not all primates do that.
yeah.
And not all of them hunt. Not all of them play with their. Not all of them are so sadistic like chimpanzees. Some are. It's hard. Like we can look at a chimpanzee and see we're just like that sometimes. Then we can look at
Mhm.
gorillas and be like we're just like that sometimes. So I get what you mean. Like we can learn from animals in the wild by studying them. Maybe we can learn something about ourselves. Isn't that why they're so fascinating? But like d- that doesn't. I don't think that we're manifesting those traits in a in like a capitalist system where they were going. Well, human beings will always have war. It doesn't matter what system it is. Well, that's not necessarily the case. We've always had shitty systems. Like, maybe we can have a system where we don't go and kill each other. Maybe we can have a system where
Yeah.
everyone has enough and they're not robbing liquor stores to get money for their kids' medicine,
And there are
Like,
certainly countries that are examples of that, like Finland and,
right.
you know,
Well,
Denmark.
Finland and Denmark, those are great examples. Like Scandinavia, we look at them as these bastions of like they have regulation on labor inside their countries, so that obviously capitalism is working, but it isn't because they're externalizing those costs in the global south. In the global south, somebody's a slave. So the people,
Mhm.
capitalism's still working for some people, but not others. So it's like Finland seems to have figured out when everybody has enough, they can all get along. They don't have the crime rates we do. Okay, well, let's expand that to everybody, but they're not. Finland only exists right now the way it does because somebody in Bangladesh is working for nothing and being
Is
treated
it
like the people in jungle.
What about the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, though?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Still based on capitalism, right? The sovereign wealth fund. You're still investing in companies that are exploiting people all over. That's how the sovereign wealth fund
Lil
works.
Kennedy says, I'm 37 now and I learned exactly what you said 2 to 3 years ago, but it's all really set in this year for me, so late as well. I wonder how many feel that way. And or like that's why men are so suspicious of women who are over 30s, in their 40s.
Oh,
It's like we
interesting.
know the shit. I don't know.
They're so I don't know that I don't think that's why I'm suspicious of women at a certain age. I don't think that that's why. But I'm not really suspicious of them either. But I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
Reviewed
hard
as
to
bitter and resentful.
bitter is a thing for sure.
Bitter and resentful,
Resentful.
yeah.
Like you're dealing with somebody who's going to punish you for crimes that were committed against them that you didn't do. Like that's the problem,
Yeah.
I think. Like I'm gonna be paying for someone else's crimes by getting involved with someone, a victim of somebody else's crimes. But that's not only it. It's hard to meet
Mhm.
women after a certain age. They don't go out. They don't do
Yeah, no,
stuff.
we stay at home and we're not
Yeah. So how are you supposed to
interested
meet them?
in and yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're not. You're not going to.
Right,
Um,
exactly. Unless you're at work, and that's a whole other bag of a whole
yeah,
other
no.
ball of beans that you don't want to open. Yeah. Uh,
Mm-mm.
yeah, someone says F zoos, and we are going to talk about zoos in a second. But before we do, what let's finish up this story about the USDA paying millions to California dairies. Was there any other point, or do we exhaust all of them?
All right. I think that was pretty much it. The average dairy cow costs around $3,500, making each loss a significant setback. As California's dairy industry continues to respond to this unprecedented crisis, many are calling for long-term strategies to strengthen the sector's resilience, including the fast-tracked development and approval of a bird flu vaccine for cattle. Hey, I've got an idea
What's your idea?
to improve the resilience of the industry that involves technological innovations.
Tell me.
Let's produce cow's milk without cows.
Brilliant. I love this idea. We could produce
Yeah.
cow's milk without cows, and then it would also theoretically speak to something that I've been thinking a lot about, and we'll talk about labor in the end of the show. But I'm thinking a lot about this because if America is not going to make like Americans don't want to go work in the holes of the earth digging coal out of it, right? We don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to work in slaughterhouses anymore. We don't want to work in dairies anymore, which is why they hire people from other countries to do it because we don't want to do that stuff. Okay, well, what have we been doing? We've been really investing in STEM. We've been investing in science and industry. Okay, well, then shouldn't we be doing that? Shouldn't we be using a technologically advanced way of getting milk protein and not use cows? Wouldn't that speak to the American experience more directly? What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. Does
I think
anybody have any reasons why we shouldn't produce cow's milk without cows? Somebody
yes.
give me like one reason why veterinarians shouldn't be. Oh my God, it's 111 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona right now. Holy
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's
the
getting
next
warm there.
story.
That's the next story. But
Yeah.
wait, oh god. But the thing about the I want to ask one more question about the cows.
Okay.
$3,500 for a dairy cow, you said, and this is why they like to keep them alive with bird flu rather than culling them like they do with chickens, because chickens cost nothing or very cheap, and cows cost a lot. They're $3,500. But there's also something there, you could sell their flesh too, right? At a higher bid. So
And their manure.
and their manure.
Yeah.
So they're making money their entire life cycle. So for
Yeah.
$3,500 investment, you don't want to lose that $3,500. But I wonder from I was going to say from farrow to, what do you call it, from farrow to slaughter? If you go, what do you call that with cows? Do you call it farrowing with cows too? What is there a term like farrow to slaughter?
Uh, like there's cow calf things. There's
But like
I don't know what you're
from
gonna.
from the moment that you
Yeah.
buy the dairy cow, $3,500, she's young.
Mhm.
She's a heifer, right?
Mhm.
And she's going to grow to be a mama, and then you're eventually going to sell her for slaughter. In that cycle, which is like 5 years or something, I wonder how much money a cow makes. Like how much money does she bring in for my 3,500 bucks?
So gosh, we did the math a while ago with what was his name? McCloskey. Mike McCloskey gave
Yeah.
me a breakdown of how much per, like he made X amount on milk, X amount. Like every year a calf sells for $1,500 for meat now. I think they were making $400 a year on milk and
Mhm.
$400 a year on like the manure.
Okay.
So you think but the first year and a half, they're just feeding them.
Mm.
And then let's figure $2,000 a year after that. So they've got probably like 3 or 4 years making $2,000 a year for them. So it's
Pretty good
but
for
I think that takes into account their costs.
uh,
So, yeah,
all
I
right.
think you're talking about like
So you're netting
$8,000 with it.
eight to $10,000 once, because another
Where's your read echo?
$1,500. I think it's because your internet is slow and you're also uploading your recording. I think that's what's happening right now. But so it's
Okay.
$1,500 in the end. I think because I just closed all my tabs in the beginning, and it's anyway. So $1,500 in the end. So you're looking at almost $10,000 off of every cow when I have to spend $3,500. So that's pretty good. It's almost double my money. They're making good money off their investment. If you
Yeah.
could buy anything and make 120% or whatever that is, that's a good investment in the course of 5 years. I mean, crap.
Yeah.
I'd do that all
That's
day
why they
long. I
keep
mean,
doing it.
yeah. Hey. Hey, and you and I pay, and if they mess up, if they make a mistake and they start losing money, the taxpayer picks up the bill. I
Yeah.
got in the wrong business. I didn't buy a dairy cow.
That's yeah. That's what we're incentivizing. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. You're absolutely right. Okay, cool.
all right. Next
Um,
story
hold on.
is Hickman's. It's
Big
their
girl salad. Big girl salad says $10,000, but vegans say farmers don't make any money. Pick a lane, bro. I don't think vegans say that. When do vegans say that? Vegans never say that. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, sorry, Crystal. Go ahead. What's the next one?
so
Hickman's is back.
big salad. Should we be bailing out these corporations? I wonder what Big Rib Salad thinks. Big Girl Salad.
It's big girl salad.
Why do you call it Big Rib Salad before? Was that
I
their
think
name
it.
before? Their
I
name
think her
before?
name was Big Rib Salad, but it looked like Bad Girl
Okay.
Riri or something. Bad Girl Salad. And now it's big girl salad. All right, big girl salad. The question on the doc is, should we be bailing out farmers who use risky business practices and end up losing money? That's the question. All right.
All right.
Hickman.
How, as an ex-dairy farmer, we never received any federal money, caused one of our cows died. Caused one of our cows died. Cows died.
I'm guessing it's one of our cows died.
Yeah.
We never received any federal money because one of our cows died. None of this, we're not talking about cows dying. We're calling loss of milk. The federal government is now, the USDA is giving money, 644 payments so far to 359 California dairy farms, totaling $231 million. Most of it was, the average payout per farm was about $645,000. And the payments range from $2,000 to $4.4 million. And most of that is in reported losses, milk losses. So there you go. And added care cost. Not because they're dead, but because they lost money on their milk, because cows make less milk when they are infected with bird flu. Thanks for the comment.
Yep.
Okay, Crystal. But meanwhile, cows, facts are facts. That's it. Facts are facts. They don't care about your feelings. All right. So meanwhile, Hickman's, they depopulated a while in Arizona. They are a chicken egg laying producer. What happened with them? Tell us the story.
Let's watch this for a second here.
Oh, you don't want to give us the backstory? Okay.
Let's see. Oh no. How do I get past this ad though? Hold on.
Ahead. I see a skip.
So they're trying to repopulate. Skip ad. There we go. Can you all hear that?
It, Crystal. No.
You can't hear it?
No.
Is that better or no?
Sure.
No. You can hear it or no?
Not really. It's coming through your mic, I think.
Okay. All right. Let's figure out how I can do this.
Well, I might be able to do it.
With an antivirus bath for our car.
Why don't you let me drive for a second?
Okay.
People who work here. Antivirus barriers to go through.
Stop it. Hit stop.
I stopped it.
All right. Stop a second.
And you're still sounding really robotic to me, and it's hard to hear you, but obviously nobody else hears that.
On an outbreak of avian flu that just devastated the biggest egg producer
in
Arizona.
Hickman's family farms lost 8 million chickens and hundreds of jobs when it was hit with the bird flu last month. And in the last 2 days, for the first time, new chicks are being brought to the farm to rebuild that flock and get the farm's employees back to work. It's quite a process to get anywhere near these new Hickman's chicks. It started with us today with an antivirus bath for our car. I don't know if this is going to fit on my foot. Then we had to put on personal protective gear, booties, and a full suit. And people who work here, they have even more antivirus barriers to go through. Every single worker who comes in walks into this facility here.
Sure, and let's walk
and
through
has
it.
to come in here and shower before they get close to the birds.
Absolutely.
Wow. Then when you walk into the barn itself, you have to step in a chlorine tub.
So get a good rub down.
And then even inside, we're sprayed again with an antiviral spray.
What do you believe?
Do
you believe this?
To get our people back.
More than 300,000 chicks were brought into
This
this
is just
barn
a nice little PR piece for
brand new
them,
flock.
isn't it?
The loss of 8 million birds last month devastated this longtime family-owned business.
8 million
costing
birds.
them tens of millions of dollars and forcing them to furlough hundreds of workers.
It's been tough because it's not just employees. We're all a family here.
We're
so
a family.
Just knowing certain people had lost their jobs, it hurts because we're not just all employees. We're all pretty much a family.
Despite all the measures that Hickman's is taking to keep the virus out of the barn, away from these young chicks, there is one big Achilles heel, and that's the fact that the chicks have to breathe. and the air comes through these vents from the outside, and that could be carrying the virus.
Until we figure out some way even treating the air, we need a vaccine.
Hickman's is one of many egg-producing farms pushing the USDA to allow them to vaccinate their birds from avian flu. So far, though, the USDA is refusing.
We had to get rid of the flock because I was deathly afraid that this virus is going to jump into the humans. And our family doesn't want to be known as typhoid Hickmans in any way. We prayed every night that, yeah.
All right, so typhoid Hickmans, which I'll call them from now on.
Okay, this robotic sound is really annoying me. I'm gonna try to leave and come back if that's. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm gonna give it a try. Do you think it'll work, or will it shut down the live stream?
I will not shut down the live stream. Thank you, Jackie Boyle. I appreciate you, Jackie. Thank you, Green Hearts of Courage, for Jackie Boyle. Thank you for supporting the thing. What do you think, Jackie Boyle? Should we be funding these Hickman farms?
This is so much better.
This is so much better. Awesome. I'm glad. Hey, so I'm now going to call Hickman Farms Typhoid Hickmans. He's making a reference to Typhoid Mary, who was a food prepper for mostly children, and she had typhus, but she didn't know it. But because she handled food, she killed lots of people. Like, she worked in shelters. She worked every time she got a job, she killed people. And she became famous because of it. They tracked her down. She was Typhoid Mary. So Typhoid Hickmans, what do you think, Crystal? Are they really going to go through all of that? They're going to spray down their booties. They're going to spray themselves down every time they go in. Are workers like that? Is that how workers are?
I think the workers will do it, but the air vents, like, they're going to suck in the contaminated dust and debris from the nearby dairy that's infected with H5N1. Dr. Kay Russo said on her LinkedIn, it's still circulating in the area. So yeah, those little, I want to hear, I hope the news continues to follow them and see if their chicks end up dying.
Well, they got 300,000 new chicks. They killed 8 million, they said, and they
did say 8 million. Oh my gosh. Wow.
8 million, and they got 300,000 chicks delivered. That seems like a very different. That sounds like a different number than 8 million. How are they going to come back with 300,000 chickens?
Well, I think they're going to try with the 300,000 and see are these guys going to make it. You don't want to repopulate with 8 million all at once and then have them all die again, right?
Now, did Hickman's, how did they kill all those chickens? I mean, you show up to work one day and you got to kill 8 million chickens. How do you do it?
Did we get I forget if we got the documents on them or it was Central Valley Eggs. I don't think we know yet how Hickman's did it. I don't think we have those documents yet. But there's ventilation shutdown plus, of course, sealing up the buildings, pumping in heat and waiting for the animals to die. There's throwing all the birds into these carts and then pumping the carts full of CO2. And then there's just breaking the necks, which Central Valley Eggs did a combination of CO2 and breaking their necks.
They just wring their necks. Yeah, just yank their necks one by one.
Awful.
Pretty nasty business. I mean, I wouldn't want to do that job. So Hickman's, though, they also did get bailouts. Is that right? They got money for all those 8 million chickens. I mean, somebody picked up the tab.
Like, they got more than $72 million for that. That was us. And it cost the state all this money to help them depopulate too. I think that it costs the state like $1.5 million. So,
right, because they're only allowed to use this one company to do it, right? Yeah, and they employ children to do it.
They employ, well, the Arizona Republic investigation found prisoners. They hire prisoners, and they brought 9 civil injury lawsuits against the company between 2019 and 2022. And the company has lobbied the state to limit prison workers' rights to sue. Like, it's the jungle all over again.
It's the jungle. So so they use prisoners in order to do the depopulation and all of these nasty businesses, and yet they don't pay them as much as a regular person because they're prisoners. And when the prisoners sued, in order to protect them, the state passed laws to make it so that prisoners can't sue.
Well, they lobbied the state to limit the prison workers' rights to sue. I don't know
So crazy.
what the status is of those laws.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? So they use prisoners to do it. And this is where my fear comes in. I am convinced that the reason why we're taking a bunch of people from other countries and we're putting them in concentration camps in America is in order to sell those people to Hickman's farms and others to do this type of labor. And they won't have rights, and they won't have to work. They'll have zero rights. They won't even be able to. They probably won't have to get paid. They won't have to pay them. So
pay them like $1 a day.
$1 a day, but that might be, who
Prisoners,
knows where
like-
that money goes. Like ICE pays their people $1 a day, their prisoners $1 a day right now. But that's not, who knows what'll happen in the future once they're deemed criminals. It's frightening to me, and I know because I don't really want to, it just seems less.
It's angering to me.
It's angering to me. Well, it's
Mm-hmm.
disconcerting. It makes me, it upsets me that it's getting worse, because they are already using prisoners, right? They're already using, limiting their rights. They're using children, a lot of child labor when they do these things. And Hickman has the nerve to get on news, Arizona 7 or whatever that was, the local news station, and say, we're all family. We're all family.
Station did this puff piece on them with no interrogation into their business practices.
Yeah.
No, you didn't hear from Animal Outlook, which did an investigation on, took footage of the depopulation process. Nobody talking about the harms that this company has done to the community. It's just a giant puff piece for them. And I got thousands of pages of documents from my FOIA request from the Maricopa County Department of Public Health that will go over FOIA Friday. And there's this company that sends people who work for Maricopa County news reports about Maricopa County, and they give like a monetary value of what this PR is worth. And maybe this puff piece for Hickman's is viewed as positive for Maricopa County, and thus is given a positive monetary value. And that's why the news station does it, because it's, I don't know.
No, to me, it's not a puff piece. I think it's a type of piece that starts with another P. It's a type of piece that they did in Germany. Yes, it's propaganda. It's the same thing as when they showed Volkswagens coming off the line. And we still have that footage from like the 1930s when Volkswagen Beetles were coming off the line. And look at our German engineering, air-cooled engines, a modern-day marvel. We're not like those silly Americans with their water-cooled engines, air-cooled engines, and we're building them for nothing. In fact, we're going to call it the people's car. That's what Volkswagen means. It means the people's car. And everyone in Germany is going to have a people's car. And they don't have to really show the fact that it's all being built by slaves. It's being built by people that were taken out of their homes, put into concentration camps, then transferred to labor camps, and that's who was working for these companies. And they built propaganda around it. This is no different to me. I guess the thing that's most disconcerting is that we're all falling for it,
that everybody just kind of goes along with it.
Yeah, I mean,
plays their part.
And we get people like Bad Girl Riri saying, we will continue to consume animals and animal products. What if you could eat animals and animal products without actually eating animals and animal products? What if you get everything the same? You don't have to. We can use our ingenuity not to have that and purchase genes from supermodels with good genes like Sydney Sweeney. I mean, sure, that's just that was light. What's so funny about the Sydney Sweeney thing, it was light propaganda. It was like, it was nothing. That would be a puff piece to me. It just happens to exist in this world that we're just like, it's just happening here. It's just happening here. I always thought it would never happen here.
The way things are. I mean, we could be having delicious protein that tastes exactly the same, has the same nutritional profile, but that's being banned in all of the states. States that don't produce this type of protein have the ability to ban it in their states for some reason. I think if you don't produce it, you shouldn't be able to regulate it or something.
I agree.
Right?
If you
Is
don't
that what
produce
they
it, you
say?
shouldn't be able to regulate it. Yeah, I like it. You shouldn't be able to regulate it. If you don't produce it, you can't regulate it. I love that idea.
Isn't
All
that
right, but
what the pork industry says?
that is what they
Never
said.
know.
That is what they said. So Arizona, Maricopa County, of course they like this propaganda because it brings money to their state and money to their municipality, and they're hoping to attract workers again, blah blah blah. But the whole thing, we prayed every night. We didn't want to be typhoid Hickmans. That is, to me, the most telling part, because it just goes to show through all of this, the other concern is valid. It's in humans. It's going to get worse in humans. And the fact that they're using prisoners, what's going to happen, Crystal, if prisoners start getting it and then they go back to prison because that's where they live, they go to work, they pick up some bird flu, and then they come back to prison where they're in confined situations with other humans. What happens?
Well, they have the human seasonal flu and H5N1, and it's going to reassort and create potentially a virus that's even worse.
Yes.
So it's, we don't know the implications of mass confining the numbers of animals that we're producing protein in this way. It's brand new, never been done before. And we are just playing with viruses we're creating the perfect environment for amplification and replication of these viruses of pandemic potential.
And even RFK Jr. is saying that they're mutant factories. These are mutant factories, these things, because of the virus mutants. I mean, so is the prison, though. This is what the danger was with with COVID. That's why they started releasing. Do you remember they were releasing people, sending them away from the prisons because they were so. Just goes to show a lot of those people weren't dangerous. They didn't belong in prison. They were minor drug charges and stuff. Send them all home. They're no longer dangerous to society. Send them all home, because we don't want everyone dying of COVID in here because of how much it would cost them to serve all those people.
Yeah. I saw an interesting TikTok of the number of people in prisons is actually going down because young people aren't committing as many crimes as they used to, because they're all sitting at home playing video games and stuff. And instead of going out into the real world and committing crimes, they're just committing crimes online and video games and stuff like that. And I thought that was interesting. And what will happen, those that do come and interface with the law, is it more likely that activists are going to be thrown into prison? Are you now more likely, if you rescue an animal from a factory farm and get caught, will you be more likely to go to prison because there's fewer people in prison now?
Yeah, not just animal rights activists, obviously. Any kind of activist can land in jail, and they'll just spend longer periods. I think you'll see longer sentences for those people, right? They won't just process you and send you home. But it's funny because you said video games, and I didn't really think about that, because I think do you remember a while back when we were kids, they were always talking about legalizing marijuana, especially, but all drugs. People have been talking about legalizing drugs, decriminalizing drugs, blah blah blah. Well, once they did that, no one's getting arrested for having a bag of weed in their car. No one's getting arrested and spending a year in jail. Used to be a year people would go in for weed. Yeah. I mean, it's insane. And still there's places in America where you could still get some time for a little bit of weed. But now with the opioid epidemic, you're talking about prescription drugs. It's harder to prove who has the prescription, who doesn't, how you got it. You're usually not walking around with a lot of it, so you're not getting these big sentences. So
it's wild to me, all of the people around here in Los Angeles that have the fentanyl lean and are bent over, just so many people I can see, 10 people a day with the bent over,
Yeah, the fentanyl lean that people. It's becoming a meme where people are like, if I came to Earth as an alien, I'd pretend to be human like this, walking around
just
fentanyl
completely
spike.
It's bad. How is that legal to be publicly intoxicated like that?
What are you gonna do with them? You're not operating a vehicle. You're not doing anything.
Just
And
on the
public
streets?
intoxication. Well, you have usually drunk in public, like public intoxication, and they could put you away for like a day. But it's just like driving drunk. You don't, unless you killed somebody or cause some damage, you
Yeah.
usually aren't in jail for longer than 24 hours. What are they gonna do?
I don't
Take
know.
you off the street and house you?
Ideally, like if you had the ability to deal with this problem, what would you do with these people who were clearly like addicted to fentanyl drugs on the street? Um,
I
like
would
how
create
would you?
I would create a hospital for them, like ones that we had mental health. We used to have mental health hospitals in this country where anybody could go. You feel suicidal, check yourself in. You feeling like you can't handle your shit, check yourself in. You're a man whose wife is acting out of line, check her in. you
Yeah, that's the thing.
you had some abuses, no doubt, but they just did away with them. Those things don't exist anymore. And what do we replace them with? We replace them with pharmaceuticals, the chemical lobotomy. That's what we replace this with. So now we got a bunch of people in the street driving like this. You walk around a
Mhm.
mall, and it's not just the lean; they're all on SSRIs and all this other stuff, which might be effective for people. But God damn, I'm looking at people. I'm like, everyone's on something. When I used to,
Yeah.
when I was in college, one of my side gigs was proofreading depositions. My mom was a court reporter, and so she would get these big depositions, and they would scope them, and I would try to proofread them and punctuate them and stuff. And back then, I was pretty good at it. And the admonitions in the beginning, the first thing they would ask you when you're deposed is, are you taking any prescription drugs? Well, they ask you, have you drunk? Are you drunk now? When was the last time you had a drink? And like, are you on any prescription drugs? It was like almost 100% of the people that I read on these depositions, and they would give a laundry list of all the drugs they're on. Now, this is almost
Yeah.
20 years ago. It's gotten worse.
I wonder.
Look around. Go to a TJ Maxx
This is why
and
I
look at
don't
everybody. They're
interact with
walking around like
people.
zombies. Yeah.
Well, like my interactions with the public are like at the gym and
Yeah.
then like going around the Hollywood Reservoir.
Yeah.
And then like occasionally walking down Hollywood Boulevard, and that's where I see the people on the drugs.
That's where you see the fentanyl. Have you seen that there's a huge spike? There's a giant spike in fentanyl in the streets. No one knows where it came from. All of a sudden, there's all this fentanyl all of a sudden. Where'd it come from? I thought we closed the southern border and then we solved this problem, but it's all BS. They're coming.
Yeah.
Fentanyl comes on over boats, and maybe it's China doing a number on us.
Or I don't. Yeah, there's something happening. It's like, oh gosh, if you're not on drugs, like all of it, I'm worried. Like the whole our ability to create and produce, our whole productivity is going down
Yeah.
because nobody's living to their full potential. And what is the result of that? Meanwhile, you have those little kids in China, they're 5 years old doing those synchronized basketball things, and they're
Yeah.
amazing.
We're not doing any of that.
And we're
We're
not
playing video
doing that.
games.
Like our kids are like addicted to iPads and stuff. Oof.
Yeah, maybe it's but it's really funny too. Not only are they on all these drugs, they're also ingesting all these drugs in the form of flesh, because the big ag and big pharma is the same thing. Someone just said the left is owned by big pharma. I think big pharma owns the left. I don't know who you mean by the left, Bob Cox, but big pharma owns all of us, and they own big ag. You are eating, if you eat animals, you're eating lots of drugs.
Well, now you sound like a crazy animal rights
Do I?
activist. Yeah, that's like you're eating lots of drugs. First of all, there's drug residues, and they say you have to withdraw for a certain period of time before you're allowed to slaughter animals with certain drug residues and all of this stuff.
They've got rules
so
to
they make
keep the drugs out.
Sure, they say, so there's no drugs in the meat because of these residues. But we did a story. You can look up my name, Crystal Heath, Cargill drug residues. That what's the Bureau of Investigative Journalists did, and it shows that there's actually are some drug residues that Cargill got dinged with. So that's a concern. But also, the 27.1% of all medically important antibiotics go to the pork industry.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. But
so what do you
I
mean
am
I
worried.
sound like a crazy animal
Well,
rights
I
activist?
think
I'm saying
because
that
if you just say, oh, they're gonna clip you as like you're saying, if you're eating animals, you're eating all these drugs, and they're gonna be able to clip that and say, like, look at these crazy animal rights activists spreading this propaganda. The truth is, there's withdrawal times and there's very strict guidelines on what we must
very
follow
strict guidelines.
before animals go to slaughter. And so that's when I point out the industry will say that there's withdrawal times and all of this stuff. But here, look at my article that I did, that I participated in about the Cargill residues. And let's cite some actual facts, because I've seen it over and over again, how we are debunked when you just say stuff like that without acknowledging how the industry is going to counter what you're saying.
Okay, so
And
let
how
me
they're
ask you
just
this
going to
then.
roll their eyes at what you say when you just say, "Oh, these animals are pumped full of drugs." Like, you just sound like
Is
not.
that what I sound like? They know the full of drugs.
Sorry, am I being mean?
No, that's what every man sounds like in your mind, I think. But the
Oh God, now we're getting toxic here.
No, I agree with you, of course, because I know what their arguments are. But I think that still most people who are okay, what I'm trying to say is this. I notice, and this is all anecdotal, it seems like everyone I know is on some kind of prescription drug. I
Yeah.
don't think that's healthy. It seems like things
No.
are prescribed these days. Every time I'm unfortunate enough to see something with advertisements, there's a drug advertisement. Even at the movie theater now, they show drug advertisements before the movies. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
And I keep spotting like product placement for drugs in films. That's weird to me. And then I happen to know some statistics, like you said, how much like the number one customer of antibiotics happens to be pork industry, but they're giving antibiotics to all these animals. And and it's not just antibiotics. There's a lot of supplements and ractopamine, and every time you turn around, you find out about some other drug that they're giving these animals, and then we're eating that. All I'm trying to say is that these prescription drugs seem to be ubiquitous, and I think you're compounding your issue when you're also consuming animals who are also given prescription drugs. You're taking prescription drugs, and then you're buying another dead animal with prescription drugs, and then you're eating that animal. That seems like you're doing a double whammy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we have seen that there is a rise in antibiotic resistant urinary tract infections, and the
I read about that.
genotype of those matches the type of E. coli
E.
that's
coli,
found
yes.
in meat and chicken. So, like, that's something that you can look at as a potential problem.
And it's tens of thousands of women, especially, but also men, who die of urinary tract infections. UTIs can be deadly. And they're finding that the ones that are deadly are tied to this E. coli that's found in the guts of animals. You're totally right. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, I haven't thought about that for a while. You're absolutely right.
Bacteria from meat likely to cause more than 500,000 urinary tract infections in the US every year. I can pull up this right now if you want to.
While you're pulling that up, I'm going to ask everyone to like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe anywhere you're watching, but also please try to subscribe to Crystal Heath and Our Honor on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook or Twitter, thank you so much for being there. I don't know if you can like on Twitter, but we can see your comments on Twitter. Please comment if you have anything to say. And I also want to say thank you to Kathy Kathy for the super sticker. Thank you. And Jackie. Thank you, Jackie.
A team of scientists led by Lance B. Price and Cindy Liu from George Washington University Milken Institute of School of Public Health developed a new genomic approach for tracking the origins of E. coli infections. Using this method, the team estimated that between 480,000 and 640,000 urinary tract infections in the United States each year may be caused by foodborne E. coli
500,000.
strains. We're used to the idea that foodborne E. coli can cause outbreaks of diarrhea, but the concept of foodborne E. coli causing urinary tract infections seems strange. That is, until you recognize that raw meat is often riddled with the E. coli strains that cause these infections. Lansby Price, professor of environmental and occupational health and the founder and co-director of the GW Antibiotic Resistance Action Center. Oh, so he's got an agenda. No, I'm kidding. Our study provides compelling evidence that the dangerous E. coli strains are making their way from food animals to people through the food supply and making people sick, sometimes really sick. E. coli is far away the most common cause of urinary tract infections, causing upwards of 85% of cases each year. Women are at greater risk of developing UTIs, which can range from as simple bladder infections to life-threatening bloodstream infections. E. coli has the ability to live in and infect people and animals, including animals raised for meat in the U.S. When food animals are slaughtered, the bacteria that inhabit their guts, including E. coli, can contaminate the meat products and put people at risk for exposure. Data from the the FDA suggests that a majority of raw meat products are contaminated with E. coli. That a majority of raw meat products are contaminated with E. coli. Currently, only specific types of diarrhea causing E. coli, such as E. coli 057H7, are monitored with any seriousness in the U.S. But this new research suggests that other strains may pose serious health risks. This study, the researchers collected raw chicken, turkey, pork purchased from major grocery store chains in Flagstaff, Arizona, and isolated E. coli from these meat samples. At the same time, the researchers collected urine and blood E. coli isolates from patients hospitalized at the Flagstaff Medical Center for urinary tract infections. By analyzing the genomes of E. coli from meat and those from people, the research team identified segments of E. coli DNA unique to strains that colonize food animals versus humans, then developed a new predictive model to differentiate E. coli from the two sources.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
So this is all in the U.S. and in the U.S. we keep numbers on the death of sepsis, not necessarily of because what people die of. UTIs are a significant contributor of sepsis. You said about almost 500,000, it's like 480,000 are caused by this E. coli.
This showed in Flagstaff, 8% of E. coli urinary tract infections in the Flagstaff area could be attributed to meat.
Oh my God!
He
So
said 8%.
and more than 270 people die in the United States annually from sepsis. UTIs are a significant contributor of sepsis. So meat, if you eat meat and you get it into your urinary tract, then you get the E. coli into your urinary tract, then you could die. Like
I mean, it's not like you eat the meat and it infects
your
bladder. Poop. That could be it. It could
I
just
looked
be
this up. It was like it's because you're pooping and you're having it in your toilet bowl and bacteria spreads, and now all of a sudden you have a urinary tract infection from because the bacteria makes it through your guts. It doesn't. Oh my God. Like it really is shocking. And to me, it's like, man, I think about all sorts of that sounds like another STD, to be honest with you. Sounds like another problem, like another STD that people are getting because they're eating animals. It looks like somebody was saying that we're fertilizing wheat fields with human feces. That doesn't make any sense. We have so much animal feces. Animals far outnumber us, and we're collecting their feces to use as to spray on lettuce.
And that's another
or to spray
thing. How much of that stuff that we're spraying on the carrot fields is that bacteria laden stuff? Are vegans gonna get that?
I mean,
E. coli bacteria, just from eating the vegetables that were fertilized with that manure.
Yeah, well, the stuff that we don't heat is the one that really gets us. Have you seen the movie Poisoned on Netflix? Yeah, it's kind of about this, and it talks a lot about the spraying of feces of animal feces on like romaine, right? So romaine kind of and then you've got to really wash your romaine, and even then you might be in trouble because there might be bacteria on there that's going to give you salmonella and get you
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, romaine lettuce and spinach. Yeah. E. coli for everyone, indeed. We could be using E. coli to grow for precision fermentation for anything, but instead we're messing with, we're doing the wrong thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Literally.
indeed.
Well,
the German militaries in Poland? I didn't know that. Sorry. Thank you. I get so paranoid when I forget to wash my produce. Yeah, so do I. I mean, I throw a fit when I see people not washing produce, and I mean limes and lemons too. I see people, they're like, well, I'm not going to eat this part. Wash it.
But you are cutting your knife through it.
Yes.
And it's
on the
sitting
same
on your
board.
cutting board. Yeah.
Oh my God. Because I lived, I spent so much time in food and beverage, and people, we were paranoid about getting people sick. So I would try to run a tight ship, but man, people are dumb. I would get bartenders, it's so hard. You teach people to wash their hands after they poop. You teach people to wash their vegetables. We have our own, usually a good restaurant will have a sink that is only for that. It's just for washing vegetables. That's all you use it for. And you don't wash anything else in there, just vegetables. And yet people do stupid stuff all the time. They leave stuff in there. They throw dirty dishes, and people are stupid. They don't realize that you could kill somebody. So anyway, it looks like, well, Hickman's is back. Isn't that great? We were talking about zoos earlier, and in Germany, and someone brought up Germany, and in Germany, I just found out that Germany is moving into Poland. That's a scary thing, probably to face off with Russia. World War III, anybody? It's like we're doing everything we did last century. Everything we did last century, we're doing now again. But one thing we were talking about in Germany was this. I'm going to go ahead and throw it up on the screen.
Cool.
It's that Germany culled a bunch of baboons because they were overcrowding the Nuremberg. I don't even like to say it, the Nuremberg Tiergarten. Yeah.
Yeah.
The animal garden.
7 animal rights activists were arrested on Tuesday after they encountered the Tiergarten Nuremberg Zoo in protest against the decision. One woman glued her hands to the ground near the entrance. Overcrowding has caused an increase in conflicts between the baboons, and no alternative for rehousing them could be found, the zoo said. Christopher Meisack, head of the German Legal Association for Animal Protection Law, said letting the animals breed too freely cannot constitute such a reason for their killing. The zoo in Nuremberg had announced plans to kill some of the guinea baboons last year after its population exceeded 40, more than 25 that could be housed by a complex completed in 2009. Zoos in other countries that baboons had previously been sent to had also reached capacity, and contraception measures had failed to slow the population growth, the zoo said. On Tuesday morning, the zoo announced that it was closing for operational reasons, triggering demonstrators to climb over the zoo's fence near the entrance where they were arrested. Later, the zoo confirmed that it had killed the baboons, none of which were pregnant females or part of scientific studies. The animals were shot, samples were taken for research purposes, then their bodies were fed to the zoo's predators. Dan Enke, the zoo's director, said the decision came after years-long consideration and that the culling of animals can be a legitimate last resort to preserve the population. Enke added that the action was in line with the criteria set out by the European Association of Zoos and Aquaria. Animal rights groups have filed criminal complaint against the zoo for culling of the baboons, which were in perfect health. A spokesperson for Pro Wildlife said the decision was avoidable and illegal, adding healthy animals had to be killed because the zoo maintained irresponsible and unsustainable breeding policies for decades. European zoos have previously sparked controversy for killing animals. In 2014, a zoo in Copenhagen culled a giraffe named Marius because his genes were too close to the other giraffes in the zoo's breeding program. A post-mortem of the giraffe, during which the carcass was skinned, cut up, and then fed to lions, was broadcast live online.
So I gotta ask, okay? I mean, they shot all these baboons. They're like monkeys, right? You're allowed to call baboons monkeys, aren't they? Is baboon a type of monkey?
Oh gosh, I should know this, and I don't.
I think they're a type. I think baboon. They're not apes. I think they're monkeys. Anyway, baboons. You kill all these monkeys.
Primates.
They're primates, but are they monkeys? All right, so you kill these baboons, and then you feed them to the tigers or whatever.
Yes,
whatever. You
baboons
got
are a type of monkey, more specifically, old world monkeys belonging
an
to the
old world
family
monkey.
Cercopithecidae.
I knew they were old world monkeys. They didn't have
Cercopithecidae.
tails. New world's monkeys have tails, and old world monkeys don't have tails.
Okay.
Anyway, all right, so old world monkey. So anyway, you kill all these monkeys, and then you feed them to tigers, and so they couldn't inject them or euthanize them or shoot them with darts, right? But are you telling me they shot them with bullets, and they
Yeah.
fed those like what do you then? What, you dig the bullet out and you feed the, because you can't feed tigers lead. Like what the hell? Are they
I
feed? Are they?
mean, maybe they just skin them and give them the meat. Maybe they don't give them their intestines or something. Who knows? Maybe they chop off the heads, because and they shoot them in the head and they chop off the head and they don't feed
Ooh,
the
you
head
gotta
to
shoot
the
them right in the head. So you
yeah.
need some marksmen. Maybe this is what's just good target practice for
And
some.
are the other monkeys watching this as their friends get shot in the head? Like, oh man, this is dark.
Are we? I mean, okay. My first question is, why are we allowing zoos anywhere to breed animals? Like, why are they breeding animals? I thought they were supposed to be just there for. I thought that zoos were happy places where it was just a necessary place to breed, to have animals, right? We had to bring animals there to save them. Why are we
So
breeding
I've been
them?
told the European view of freedom to express normal behaviors includes the ability to perform reproductive acts. So they do not prevent breeding in their
Oh,
zoos. But it seems like they tried like birth control and that failed. I don't know why that failed. Like there needs to be some further. There's a lot of questions here.
so they
And
allowed them to breed, and then they had to kill them. But why couldn't? This is so crazy to me. And shooting them is the best way
yeah,
to do it.
life eats life. I mean, that's when your
They should have had Joe Rogan
philosophy
could have come over and shot him. Why didn't they
with
call
an
him up
arrow, right,
with an
in the heart.
arrow?
That
Yeah, you could do some target practice out there, shooting monkeys in a zoo.
I wonder how he would feel about that. Like that's my like notes to when I'm on Joe Rogan's show.
You got to
What
feed those tigers. You got to feed them
we're
something.
going to talk about, hey, hypothetical situation, Joe Rogan. The Nuremberg Zoo calls and says, like, we need your arrow marksmanship to shoot 12 healthy monkeys. Do you do it?
How
Joe Rogan.
long does a tiger live on 12 healthy guinea baboons? Like, maybe
I
this
think,
is
how big is a guinea baboon?
a pretty large animal, like a size of a German Shepherd, I'm thinking.
Hmm.
You know, size of a dog. Like, why can't we? So they should zoos be allowed?
They are 20 to 28 inches. They weigh 22 to 33 pounds.
Oh, so like a smallish
So,
dog.
yeah.
More like a big cat. Like a
Mm.
no, like a 30-pound dog is what kind of
Yeah,
breed is
that's
a
a decent
30-pound dog?
dog. Oh, could a wide variety of little
But
things
bigger than
like
it's like a
yeah,
bulldog, right? Like a bulldog weighs about 30 pounds,
like a
don't they?
Frenchie.
A Frenchie weighs about 30 pounds. No, they don't weigh that much, do they? I think they're like
Yeah,
15.
some of them do. Some are bigger.
A
I
big
don't know.
fat
I should
one.
know.
Yeah.
I should like be able to come up with good answers for you right off the bat, but
What breed of
drawing a
dog
blank.
is 30 pounds? I think of a German Shepherd's like 50 pounds. So
Yeah, smaller
uh,
than that for sure.
smaller than a German Shepherd. Maybe like a Dalmatian. Is a Dalmatian smaller than a
Small,
German
very
Shepherd?
small Dalmatian, maybe.
like a whippet.
Like
Right.
yeah,
An
mini
Italian
Aussie.
Greyhound. Mini
Yeah.
Aussie. An Australian Shepherd. All right. So how long does a tiger? We're gonna shoot all these baboons and feed them to tigers and lions. At first I was thinking
Is
maybe
it better to just waste their body?
well, no, I was thinking it's far more sinister. I was thinking you let the baboons mate so that you don't have to buy food for the
Mm,
tigers and lions.
yeah.
I mean, why buy a cow or a goat when you got baboons making baby baboons? You got a fresh
Yeah.
supply, and then when they get old, you shoot them and you give them to the tigers.
It's a closed ecosystem. What if
It's a closed ecosystem?
but
Yes.
what if that was the the zoo, are people down with that being the zoo's philosophy? And it seems more ethical than feeding them animals raised in modern intensive protein production facilities. If
I
you're going to
guess
have a zoo,
if you're gonna have a
feed
zoo,
raise zoo animals for these carnivores to eat.
I think about that when I see them feeding fish to in aquatic zoos. They catch those fish from someplace, either from a farm or whatever. So there's this fish out there. He's swimming. He's living his life. He's doing all right, whether it's a farm or it's wild. And then they put him on ice. And fish live a long time on ice. They sit there and they gasp for a long time. And then a dolphin does a trick, and a 20-year-old woman yanks you out of the ice and throws you into the dolphin's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That seems very unethical to me. It seems like one of the most horrific. That just seems
the number of fish that those marine parks go through, and the shipments of fish. I mean, it's just massive.
Right. In order to keep all these animals in.
Mm-hmm.
I live near the Pacific Marine Rescue Center. I think it's PMCC. I live kind of close to it, and I've been there. My mom volunteered there, and I did like a report on them when I was in high school, and I live near them. And when you're there, the thing that you can hear them, you can hear all the pinnipeds.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they're very loud. They're cacophonous. They're wild. They're rescued, and some of them will go. Mm-hmm. Some of them they're there to stay. They're not going anywhere. But it's not a zoo. It's just they can't go back in the wild. They're too injured, or they're just really messed up, or they're blind or something. And but most of them, they're only there for a little while, and they put them back out into the wild. But they have to a lot of times teach them how to eat, because if they eat the fish backwards, like the fins and the scales will like wreck their throats. I guess they got to eat them head first. Something I learned when I was in high school when I did a report on them. Yeah, they got to like teach them how to eat the fish the right way, because I guess they forget and they're not eating them in the water, and they have to they're kind of like they have water, but they're kind of out. They're like they look like swimming pools, Anyway. Mm-hmm. But you could smell just the fish in the air. It's unbelievable, the smell of fish. All you smell is dead fish. It's that smell of dead fish too that's really gross, right? It's not like being down by the docks or something.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. So
yeah.
Anyway, you're right. They go through a lot of fish. It seems like it would be more ethical to. It just seems really bad. I guess grow your own fish, let them in the aquarium, then pluck them out and feed them to the pinnipeds. Closed system.
I mean, yeah. I imagine though, if you had like a little precision fermentation device and you could produce all of the protein needs for all of the animals with your little in-house precision fermentation thing and formulate meat that tasted exactly like the regular meat and had the same nutrient profile, would that be better?
It sounds better to me, I guess. Like, wouldn't you? I still am against zoos. I know that we differ there, but like, I don't like the idea of zoos. But
I don't like the purpose of like for-profit zoos breeding animals in captivity. I like the idea of like, if an animal needs to be rescued and can't live outside in the wild, having a place they can go, and we can educate the public on them and foster empathy for them. But also
to have a place where like a refuge, like a rescue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like this place, like you could go visit this place, the Pacific Marine something center. It's PMCC, Pacific Conservation Center or something. You could go visit and go see them. You could take a tour, but they're not a zoo. Like,
I mean, it sounds like a good deal, right? And do you have to pay to get in?
There's like a box, I think. I don't know. I haven't been there since I was in high school. Okay. I mean, I've been by it many, many times. Every week I go to this place where I have to be right next door to it, but I haven't gone in since I was a kid. But I'm guessing that there's like a donation box or something, I'm not sure how it all works. And there's a donation box at the airport. If you land in Orange County, there's a plastic model a life-size model of a pinniped, and it says like California seal or something, or sea lion, I don't know which, and there's a box to donate money to save them. You can do that right there at the airport. Kind of cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, so you're in charge of the zoo and you have excess baboons. What do you do with them? You think
excess baboons.
What do you do with your excess baboon problem? As
like
suddenly zoo puts you in charge. You're like, okay, we don't want any backlash from the vegans, so we're going to put the vegans in charge of dealing with the situation. What do you do?
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, you have to decide: are we euthanizing them or not euthanizing? I'm gonna side on not euthanizing right off the bat. Like, let's try not.
We're
gonna
find them a home. We're
gonna find them a home or build them an enclosure where we're gonna separate the boys and the girls for now. Everybody, you guys are doing it too much. Okay, like we want you to be natural or whatever in the zoo. You're right, just like you said, like you want to express yourself, but for now we're gonna have a moratorium on that type of activity.
It's weird where so we acknowledge like the animals in European culture, I guess they have a right to reproduce, but they don't have a right. Like, obviously an animal will fight to save their life, right? But they don't have a right to live.
They don't have a right to live, but they have a right to screw. Yes.
That's really interesting. And we have the right to confine them. It's like
we have a right to confine. They don't have the right to their freedom. They don't have the right to their lives, but they have the right to have sex.
Yeah. That's really interesting where we draw the line
to mate, I should say, since they're animals, I guess. But baboons, they seem like they're mammals, right? So yeah, it's totally weird. So I'm gonna say they're only 12. They only killed 12. You're telling me they couldn't take 12? They could. I don't know how many they had in total, but they couldn't take some of those animals. The boys, let's just say, and we're just gonna separate the boys and girls for now, everybody. I know it's gonna be hard for everybody, but we're gonna separate them for a year. Give it a year, see who dies. And when we have a low supply of baboons, we'll put the boys and girls together. We'll see what goes, see if magic happens again. Like it shouldn't be that hard. This shouldn't be that hard.
And I really do think that we could find the donors and find the space to build more space and then like say, hey, we're not breeding anymore. But yeah, we're going to build more space somewhere. It seems like there's a lot of animal rights activists that really care about this. Maybe they would pony up some dollars too.
Yeah. Or would you necessarily need more space, seeing as how there was enough space, right? We just didn't have enough space for more. So we had to kill 12 of them. And so we're going to get 12 more if we're not going to keep them from mating. So why not just put a partition? We're just going to put a partition that we can open and close every year or so. Maybe they'll have some conjugal visits every year or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out down the road. Let's put a partition down there, enclosure, and the boys will be on one side, the girls will be on the other side. Everything's going to work out. Or fix a couple of them. Maybe you got a couple of old lady baboons that their mating days are behind them. Maybe they can be on the
vasectomy is on the man.
Or whatever. Or
yeah,
you can fix them.
Vasectomies. Yeah.
Yeah, they could still mate, but they but they don't get to mate. They don't get to reproduce. They can still mate but not reproduce, right? What's the monkey really want? Do they want a baby monkey around here? Probably not. They just want to, do their monkey love.
Exactly.
They just want some baboon love, man. That's all they want. Yeah.
Yeah, the vasectomy idea, that's like literally, the whole, it's really interesting. There's, this one really bad faith guy on my Twitter who argues with me, and I've stopped replying to him because we just won circular arguments. But let me pull up what he said about this whole thing. So I, had my thing about like many people can't afford veterinary care for the animals they love, while pharmaceutical companies, research institutions receive billions in public funds to experiment on animals. Shouldn't animals have the right to benefit from the experiments that members of their species gave their lives develop? Shouldn't corporations that benefit from animal experimentations and drug development have an obligation to provide those innovations to all? Like, and this guy says, this is you sterilizing animals to remove reproductive rights, pondering if animals deserve health protection rights provided by drug corporations. Have I understood that correctly? And I said, I believe in providing care for animals that is based in their best interests, not based on exploitation. All-cause mortality declines and quality of life improves in sterilized dogs and cats. And he says, do you think the animals would agree with your approach? You are trying to create an existential paradox. They live longer, but their future existence is prevented.
Oh, no, not their future existence isn't prevented. Their future existence is not prevented. The existence of more of them is prevented. Is that right? You can't, and the ones that are here live longer. I mean, this is a classic question for all of us, I suppose. But okay, the thing about that you said, I believe in helping animals. In their interests, right? Didn't you say? Can you say that sentence?
I believe in providing care for animals that is based in their best interest, not based in exploitation.
That's beautiful, because these monkeys, as far as I'm concerned, are there for exploitation. They're not there. They don't exist in these cages for their own. They're there for exploitation. So that's already been taken from them. And shooting them is definitely not in their best interest. Like, we can simply keep them from mating. I think that it's far more ethical to. It still sucks. I'm not going to say it sucks. You're kind of lesser of two evil here, but maybe you don't even have to do the surgery. Again, partition. It's not that hard. Separate the boys and the girls. Jesus, that's what they do to us in high school. Is that what they do to?
So this guy says, do you think the animals would agree with your approach? You are trying to create an existential paradox. They live longer, but their future existence is prevented. How would you respond to that?
Because I don't think that's. I think he's speaking erroneously. I don't think that their future existence is limited. I don't think that's true. They're prevented. You're not saying that there will be no more. What species are you guys talking about in this? Are you talking about all species?
I think he's just general. So I said,
we're not saying let's take cats, because he's attacking you because you perform spay and neuter. So if we take cats, it's not like performing spay and neutering on cats is preventing cats from existing. Like, cats will exist. Like, the species will not go away because of your spaying and neutering free roaming cats. I think it's just I think he's just making a mistake. Maybe it's in bad faith, but I think he's just making a mistake. I think he's just misstepped in his logic.
I was kind of imagining that he's thinking that the individual animal wants to see their lineage continue. And I don't think that's true.
Maybe on like some like Darwinian level, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
I answered, yes, I do think they agree with my approach. Individuals do not care about perpetuating their lineage. I don't think that that's anything that animals care about. And he said they will risk their lives for reproduction, but do you think it doesn't matter to them? Their existential future means nothing to them and you. And I said, interesting, once their hormones are gone, roaming, fighting, and getting hit by cars stops. Do you think that animals want to be killed as a method of producing protein? And he says, imagine applying that logic to humans. If we sterilize them, they won't fight as much, and they will also stop existence.
Well, you're in luck. You're in luck. I love that. I love that he said that. Imagine we do that to humans. You're in luck. We have done that to humans throughout the years. They castrated slaves in almost every culture, including American culture. They castrated slaves because it made them easier to rule. It made them fall. All of a sudden, they stopped fighting. All of a sudden, they stop running. They stop doing all the stuff that slaves do. You cut off their balls. Wow. We castrated slaves in every culture that had slavery. They did this to some degree.
Do you think that was right?
Do I think it was right? When you own somebody, you've already crossed that Rubicon, right?
But with the community cats that I spay and neuter, I don't own them. Nobody owns them. We're just controlling their populations.
But they exist because of our owning of them, right? All cats exist as slaves in our lives. Like, all cats do. That's just they're free roaming cats. They're not actually free. Someone could scoop them up and take them, and no one would say anything. Like they're just.
Well, I guess that could be true of all wild animals, or
Yes, I mean
all feral
Aristotle said,
animals too.
and wild animals, they're here for our exploitation.
Yeah. Do
Our
we have
research.
as a vegan and animal rights activist, should we just let them? Should we ideally not touch them at all and let them overproduce and get hit by cars, and 75% of their babies die horrible deaths on the
And
street?
what'd you say? Like 20%, they have to consume 20% more calories because they're
Yeah,
pregnant, and they have to
more
like,
animals.
yeah, I
And
mean all
well,
that stuff.
intact animals have to consume 20% more calories, so that they're eating more animals out there.
Right, cats
Or
have to eat more animals because they're pregnant,
yeah, all
20% more.
animals. Well, not because they're pregnant, because they're intact, because they have gonads. Once you take
Oh,
the gonads away, they consume 20% less.
oh, I
All
thought it was a
animals do.
pregnancy thing.
No.
All animals do. So if I
Pregnancy is
had,
a lot more, and then nursing is a lot more. It's probably they have to consume, just like humans, when they're nursing human babies, they have to consume 500 more calories to produce milk. So imagine,
you're eating for two or whatever. So you're
that's
saying
like
though that if
50%
I
more.
removed my gonads, I would require 20% fewer calories to live.
Yeah.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Which is,
That's so interesting.
yeah.
Why?
Castrated animals live longer, because there's less wear and tear on the body that can, consume less calories and less, all of that stuff, all
Okay,
that
so
cellular damage.
I love your question though. Like, should we just leave them alone as animal rights activists and people who want to live ethically with the world around us? So there's two things though. Like the wild world, we didn't cause. If there's an overpopulation of, say, hawks or something, we didn't necessarily cause that. You could say like, okay, human beings brought more rats, and now there's more hawks, and now there's too many hawks, and some of them are dying of whatever, of waste or whatever. So we got to cull them. I don't know. I feel like let's just let nature take its course. We didn't necessarily cause that problem. But with cats and dogs, that's clearly our fault. Like we did that. So we have some responsibility because
it's their fault for domesticating themselves and domesticating us.
It's interesting.
And,
that's so interesting.
over to our food, and
yeah. Well, I think that I'd agree with most of like philosophers who think about us as a species, what makes us different. And I think that as human beings, one of the markers of of being human is that we take responsibility for our actions. And this is something that's, again, I'm sorry that we have to get into philosophy, but to me, that is who we are. We take action. And that could be from all of these different things, like, okay, well, the cosmos, and we all ended up here, and now there's no such thing as free will, but no matter how you believe in that, once we take action, make decisions, even if there's no free will, the human being takes responsibility for their actions, and no other animal seems to do it like us.
Unless you are there's certain people.
Unless you're a MAGA or something. Yeah. Unless you're Donald Trump, and then you try to
unless
get away
you're
with
the
all of
dairy
it.
industry, and then you have other people take responsibility for you.
Totally. Right. But even there, they have to take responsibility by trying to cover it up with money. They're trying to get money for it. Like their actions have repercussions, and they understand that when they do it. Like we know what our actions will do. We think about it, and then we have to F around once we make those decisions. So when it comes to dogs and cats, like we clearly did this as a species. We did this, and we have responsibility now. We have a moral duty to these animals to start, because now like they only exist in America because of us. Cats didn't come over here by accident. We brought them.
Okay, can you go argue with the Dean Carson on my Twitter for me? Because I can't argue with him anymore. But if somebody else,
I'd love to.
Here, I'll put it in the chat. Everybody go argue with Dean on my thread on the Twitter, please. So I don't have to. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so then you get someone like this, shut up, loser, liberal. But I really don't. I mean, I was joking about Donald Trump a second ago, but really this isn't liberal or conservative. This has nothing to do with liberal or conservative. What does it mean to be human is a question that we've asked forever. And when we talk about animals, I think it's important to talk about that. Yeah, outsource the endless arguments.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Well, what do you think, though, at the end of the day, when it comes to these baboons? Because should zoos be allowed to kill healthy animals? And don't they have a plan for these animals to sell them and move them around and stuff? I thought they had a whole network.
Well, yeah, I try to just think about these things from like all the perspectives and just realize how at each level something went wrong. Something went wrong with the fact that they
They brought them
ended up
into
with too
Germany.
many animals that they couldn't take care of. Then when they did go to end their lives, they did it in a way that was cruel. And people say like, okay, gunshot to the head is quick and painless death, but is that really what you're doing? Were you shooting them in front of others? There's I think, injection with some anesthesia, even like giving them a like meatball of anesthesia drugs or something could be better, even than darting or something, and have them fall asleep and then give them an injection when they're asleep might be the
Does it matter
best
how we
method.
kill them though? Like, because if you put them all in a bag and drown them, isn't that like, I mean,
Yeah, I think
to me that'd be the quickest, easiest way to do it. Like that's how I would.
Drowning them in a bag. That's how you want to go. You want to be
No, but like hiring someone to shoot the animals seems like a lot of work for nothing. Like if we're gonna kill these animals either way, like put them in a box and put them underwater, and they'll go pretty quickly. It only takes a second. I mean,
Is that how you want to go, in a box
no,
underwater?
I don't want to go at all. Jesus, but if I'm
if
if I'm the zookeeper,
I don't. There are like less cruel ways of killing, and I think we should advocate for the least. Once we take responsibility for animals, we
is darting
should.
them less painful than drowning them?
I think so. I think
Okay.
darting them can be, but I think even better than darting would be like a meatball of drugs, a meatball of ketamine until,
So you give them some kind of consumable drug and they OD and
yeah,
they're
and they
gone.
just eat it and then they just pass out.
But we want to
And
use their
then once
carcasses
they're
to feed
past,
tigers.
well, here's where I don't think that that's the best thing to do. I I think you've got these animals in a situation where there's no easy way to kill. You could do high expansion nitrogen foam, I guess.
Yeah, and then there you go, or carbon dioxide.
I don't know, carbon dioxide would be bad, but nitrogen gas might be the best way to kill them. So then the tigers could eat them.
I don't know the best way to. I think once you're deciding to kill them and feed them to tigers, it doesn't matter how you do it at the end of the day.
I
as
do.
long
I think it does. I think we got to prevent as much suffering as possible. And if you can lights out quickly and painlessly kill them and then feed them to the tigers, that's
But the problem, Crystal,
better
is
way
that
to
we
go.
didn't need to kill them and feed them to
Yeah.
tigers. That wasn't. They didn't have to feed. They didn't have to kill them.
Let's just acknowledge what anybody who's not an animal rights activist is going to say is like, if they were in the wild, they would be ripped to pieces by tigers. And
Some of them.
What we're doing is so much. Let's look up at like how most primates in the wild die, and most primates in the wild do not die of old age, just passing out, having a heart attack and dying in their sleep.
Right, but they die of all sorts of. Okay, that's true. Die of your sleep. Wild animals generally don't just die in their sleep. That's true, but they don't just die by eating shredded by predators either. They die of falling. They die of breaking their bones and getting infections. They get insects bite them and they die. They get killed by spiders. They get killed by all sorts of stuff. Like, it's not. I guess a spider might be a predator. But I've looked up, I tried to do this once before because there's a bunch of people out there that thinks that we should kill tigers in order to prevent the maiming.
I don't think that's true.
And there's just not enough evidence about about the percentages of animals that are killed by predators.
Infants and juveniles, up to 50% of deaths can be attributed to predators. Adults, far less, typically 5 to 15%, depending on the predator pressure. Overall, across age groups, predation accounts for 10 to 30% of total baboon mortality.
30%.
Leopards alone were responsible for 50% of known predation events in Botswana. So
30% of them are going to die from predators. So that means 70% of them are living pretty long, happy lives, dying other ways. So, I mean,
I don't know if all those other ways are better than a gunshot or worse than a
No,
gunshot.
but okay. All right. But your premise was it's better to be killed. We're doing better than they would have gotten in the wild. But my argument would be I would rather live free and have a chance to escape the leopard than live in a zoo, live in a cage of any size. I don't like the fact that they're putting animals in cages that were born free. Like, yeah, some of them
Okay,
are gonna get.
so right now you could, and this is one thought that I had while reading The Jungle, was why don't these people, they'd
Just
be
leave.
better off
Yeah,
going out
the
and like
wilderness.
living off the wild land, like
Yeah,
go south where it's warmer for one
yeah.
thing, live in the wilderness and just hunt and get your food that way. So much better than working for this meat packing plant and like having this house.
Yeah.
Why don't you do the same thing? Like you could free yourself from capitalism right now and you could go live somewhere and just eat fruits and vegetables and live free. And I don't know, couldn't you?
Well, there was a group that was like about 30 or 40 years before the Jungle was written that left Chicago and they went to Utah and they famously walked there with wheelbarrows and
The Mormons?
yes, the Mormons. They were living in Chicago and Illinois, and they were persecuted. They couldn't deal with the capitalist regime. They hated it.
Yeah.
And so they decided to leave. And after their dude got killed, right? Joseph Smith got killed. Joseph Smith gets killed, they leave. And they make it all the way to Utah. You're absolutely right. They did what you said, but you still need a community. And I think that what's happening in the jungle is that capitalism has robbed you of all that. They don't have a community. The Mormons had each other. They had a okay, it's a culty group, but they had each other, and that cultiness kept them together and let them survive to get to Utah. The dude in the jungle, he's just him and his wife. Like, he's screwed. There's nothing. What's he going to do? Live out there in the wilderness like that? I mean, I guess people do it, but
yeah.
But they're still coming for you. They're still going to come for you.
Who's coming for me?
Well, the Mormons, for example, they still got messed with, and they couldn't. There's no way they're.
Yeah.
And even today, they don't live the way their scripture was intended. They don't have their polygamous relationships anymore. That's been outlawed and all sorts of stuff. Like, society has told them how to act.
They
supposedly, right? They have
yeah
sister wives and stuff, but it's against the law. They're not.
It's interesting. It's like the men are free, of course. The women are. It's like, how many people can you wrap up into your cult mindset? And then some of them want to. Everybody's looking to free themselves. Then there's the women, the offspring, the daughters who break free of the Mormon cults, and some boys do too. So it's like,
I feel like
we're all just kind of searching for our own freedom somehow.
But you know what, Crystal? I think you're right, though, that I feel like that desire for freedom, to me, this is kind of what I love about America, and what I'm actually really kind of saddened by, that in my lifetime I've seen this sentiment kind of disappear. I've always thought that America was this like wild. We're kind of wild. We got guns. Yeah, the horrible things happen, but we got them, and no one's going to tell us what to do. Not too much. You're going to come pretty far, but you're not going to come too far because we got guns too, and all this kind of like. And it's not necessarily true, right? Like, you're not going to hold off the Marines, but it's a vibe. And that's kind of the vibe that's been the American vibe. We're not bootlickers. And when I lived in Germany, I never thought that what happened there could happen here because of that vibe. And I think that that's gone. That the vibe is gone. We got a different vibe, a vibe of bootlicking and snitches and hall monitors, goose steppers. And the Mormons weren't going to goose step, and it's hard to break away from that, though. Like someone just said, like, we don't have. It's hard to do that without the support network. We talk about this all the time when it comes to eating animals, right? It's hard to say no to the propaganda and no to everyone telling you to do this and no to your family. No, I'm not going to kill these animals. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be part of it. That's hard. They're spending billions of dollars to keep you that way. What do you do? Just go off into the wilderness and try to like make a hovel? Like,
or you work for this Nuremberg, I thought about it all the time of like,
Yeah.
and I kind of already am that way, but I do it in a bougie way. It's like I
Yeah.
am my own little island. I don't need anybody, and I like make it work with my own
Well, doctor,
independent. Like I've,
for
you
$1
know,
million, you can buy an Earth ship in New Mexico and be off the grid and live very bougie. I've thought about that. I always thought, man, I'll just move out to Taos and live in an Earth ship. They got
what's an
internet.
Earth ship?
Oh,
I don't
that's
know what the
great.
Earth
It's
ship
like,
is.
so they call them Earth ships. It's this, they kind of build these houses into the 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 landscape, and it's built out of mostly refuse, mostly like bottles and cans and tires, but they look gorgeous, by the way. You say that because they're built sort of out of trash,
Mhm.
but the way they're built, like you grow vegetables there, there's solar panels, it doesn't need heating and cooling, it's always the same temperature inside. Your bathroom, your refuse, like the waste that you make, will fertilize your plants. And then what else? The only thing they're piping in, nothing is piped in except for the internet, and the internet, I think, is they've got some way how that's figured out. But the water's collected from the sky, the energy is collected from the sky, and you're off grid basically.
Yeah.
And I've always
Hmm.
thought that would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think my goal, like once there's RVs that are electric, and ideally, like if you could have a solar panel on top, we've got to get. They've already come out with some solar panels for the Teslas that you can like put on your car and
Yeah.
park it and plug in the solar panel, and then like after a couple of days, it'll charge it all the way up just on solar. But it's
Mm-hmm.
still really janky. But I think in the future it'll be better. And I am imagining an RV with some sort of solar panel on the top, and I can drive around, and that'll be like my house.
Yeah.
And I can just travel around with that, and but also having internet, got my Starlink or something.
Well, you could do that
Obviously,
now,
yeah, I could
but
do it now,
I
but
mean, RV has you just go to
it's
an RV
still,
place and they have internet and they have showers and they have gym and they have pool, they have all the
well,
stuff you
yeah, but
need.
the problem now with RVs is the gas mileage just
Yeah, I see what you mean.
isn't where it
Okay,
should be.
got you. Got
That's
you
my
covered.
current
Got you covered.
barrier. What is
Then
it?
you get an electric truck like a Rivian, and then you
Yeah,
just haul a trailer. You don't have an RV, you have
that's
a
what I've been
trailer.
thinking too, but I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about this, and the
Mhm.
Rivian, it does really drain the battery to have a trailer, and you do need to do a lot of stops at the charging station. So it's still just not quite where it needs to be yet for me to do
Couple
it.
more
But I think
years,
in a
we'll have
couple
it.
more years we'll get there. The food situation, it's still, I wouldn't be all about growing my own food, but that the labor required to grow your own food and stuff is a bit too much for me. I'm still,
Some of it,
gonna
yeah.
participate in the capitalist system for
But
that,
what if
and that's
you
where
could have precision fermenting at home? Like, that's how
that's
I think that's the future, right?
think that's you can make your own stuff, yeah, with your little devices. I gotta
Yeah.
get it. Have you done the making your own soy milk and stuff at
Yeah.
home? I haven't done that yet, and maybe I need to do that.
Soy milk,
Um,
the problem with doing stuff like, I love that stuff. You should totally do it. It's awesome because once you do it once, I do make oat milk all the time, so that's super easy, and oats are
mhm.
cheap. So like, but you want to
But
get
I
the
want
protein.
protein, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I know it sucks, but soy is cheap, but that's why soy milk is cheap. So you might as well buy
Mhm.
it. If you're gonna do
Yeah.
something that's gonna be like,
If
you know
it's
what?
more expensive and time consuming to make soy milk, then I'm not, yeah,
Yeah, it's not
gonna do
gonna
it.
be. It doesn't take much time, and you could cut corners. Like, I've done it, but like, you can make your own vegan mayonnaise because that's expensive and that's really cheap
Mhm.
to make at home. So there's stuff like that you could totally
How do
do.
you make vegan mayonnaise?
You take there's lots of different recipes, but you take a little lemon juice, a little oil, well, and some tofu or soybean. Tofu is really great because it's like got that white color and everything. And you put it in a blender or a food processor, and you You add the liquid super slowly, and then it turns into mayo. And it's pretty amazing. It's really easy.
Okay.
Super simple.
Cool.
I think there's a little vinegar too. There's so many recipes. I think it's a little
Yeah.
vinegar, a little lemon juice, and then you add that first, and then you add the oil slowly while it's blending so it can emulsify. It's just a trick of the
Okay.
timing. But then you've got a bunch of vegan mayo, and vegan mayo is like $8, $9, $10 in the store, and you just did it
Yeah.
for like $2, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
soy milk, a gallon of it costs like $3 or $4, and if you're going to make that at home, it's probably going to cost you like $3 or $4. So like, what's the
yeah.
point? Yeah,
Yeah.
you just waste. But it's fun to
Yeah.
do. I mean, I don't know. Has anyone else tried doing this stuff? I mean, you can make stuff. Why the F would he end van life? Is happiness banned now? Van life's cool. I think van life's fun. I don't know. Okay, but the question
Yeah.
is, if you want to live wild, Crystal, it sounds like you might be like have that American spirit. Maybe we were just raised in a different time, Crystal, and we're not. I never liked the hall monitors and the snitches and the bootlickers. So
Yeah. Well, people called me a snitch famously. So
you were, but
am I
that's
a
a different
snitch?
thing.
Am I snitching on the AVMA? Am I snitching on animal rights orgs?
No, because when you call out the people in power, you're what's called a whistleblower, right? A
Or
whistleblower is
call
not a
them in
snitch.
is what I actually did. And
Yeah, he called them
but
in. But a
called them in.
snitch is when you turn in your neighbor, you turn in your peer, like you turn in. You're always so careful, actually, Crystal. You're super careful to not be a snitch. You're always like blur the workers' faces or don't
Mhm.
call out that veterinarian because if we say that
Don't
veterinarian's
use their name.
name,
Yeah.
right? You always do that. So you're not a snitch. You call out the institution. That's called
Mhm.
a whistleblower. Like calling out the institution's good. Calling
Yeah.
out an individual who's like your neighbor or your peer, that's bad unless they're doing something absolutely horrible. But I mean, after that, like
Yeah.
if your peer is Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, snitch.
Yeah. Should we name names of people in animal rights leaders who have harmed us? Or because I've, talked
Yeah.
about vaguely what happened to me and I've never named names. But there was recently somebody who did name names about a
Mhm.
certain group and people. And I go back and forth on like, were they right to do that, or should they have just shared their story and not turn them into martyrs by naming them?
Does it turn them into
I don't know.
martyrs by naming them? I don't know if
Eh,
that's true. But like I feel
But it's
like
also important for people to know, like, yes, that person that you thought was a great person actually did this, and
if you
it's
think someone's actually harming somebody else, I think we should speak up and let
yeah,
that person defend themselves. I think that's really important. I think if somebody has harmed you, like think about poor Jeffrey, right? What's her name? I forget her first name, but Miss Jeffrey, who came forward about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein,
mm,
and now she's committed suicide, even
mhm,
though she said that she would never commit suicide.
yeah,
And um I think about her a lot when we're talking about Epstein and all that. And it's kind of salacious and kind of fun to talk about. But what if she hadn't come forward? Epstein would still be doing his thing.
yeah. I feel guilty now for not coming forward, but I kind of
That
did.
wasn't
Like,
my intention.
did I do enough? Like, there was an article that came out, and I was, you know, uh, I didn't. I changed my name in the article, but that person was named. Was that enough? But it was a small piece.
I don't know
I don't.
it's a Virginia Giuffre.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's up to you, really. I
Uh,
mean, you do what you can to live in this life. I feel like if
yeah.
it's an institution, you call out the institution every time. If it's an individual, that's harder, it's harder. That's why it's hard to come forward about things like rape and because you're talking about an individual and
Yeah.
all these other issues come. Oh my God, have you seen there's this movie called Sorry Baby that is like one of the most honest and oddly funny depictions of male hierarchy, patriarchy and hierarchy in the education system, and it's about a rape that happens, and it's freaking so good. I think it's just in theaters right now, but it's called Sorry,
Oh,
Baby, and it's fantastic. What happened? You still with me?
I lost a sound for you first. Oh, are you there? Hold on.
I'm here. You lost sound. I'm still here.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Did you misunderstand perhaps snitch or bitch? Snitches get stitches.
Can't hear you for
don't stitch out your neighbors. That's okay. I'm talking to the chat right now. You could add nuts to non-dairy ice cream or shredded coconut. That sounds good. Yes. Money is always the problem. It's sad. Indeed it is. It absolutely is. Crystal has lost.
I should be able to hear you through. Oh, wait.
You should be able to hear me because I can.
Here we go.
I haven't lost. Can you hear me? Have you heard me? Oh, because
now
you're using.
I can hear you.
You're using multiple devices.
Now, yeah, but you hear me fine now, right? There's no echo.
I never lost you.
I lost you, I think, for a long time until just now.
Yeah, I could tell. So anyway, go see the movie Sorry Baby. I think you would enjoy it, to a level. It speaks exact to what we're talking about, and I thought that it was the most honest depiction of rape dynamics and hierarchy in education that I've ever seen. And I saw it with Karina, and we both walked away from that film like, God, I wish more people would see this. And it was. And
is it newish? Is it?
Yeah, it's in the theater. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to win Oscars. I think it's going to be one of those sleepers that nobody really knows about, and then all of a sudden it'll win an Oscar, and people are like, "What? I never heard of this movie." But it's got like 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like, but it's one of those films where it's like you do want to cry at a couple parts, but it's funny and it's just very real. And it's just rare I haven't seen a movie like that in a long, long time, and it's fantastic. I think you should watch it.
Yeah.
So do you think that being wild is preferable to being in a cage?
I think having options and being able to act on those options and not being stuck is, and imagine just being trapped with all of these animals that you don't really like or whatever.
You can't even have your alone time.
But I also think the reason that we don't really hate the idea of keeping animals in cages, because if they have all their needs met, if they're given food and shelter and everything, and their medical care taken care of, I mean, that's better than a lot of humans get. So
is it?
And maybe a lot of people are envious of, I wish I could live like those monkeys.
Some people want to be kept, but that's not. People always say that. Like you hear about these like sugar mamas, sugar babies, right? The sugar babies, and they want a sugar daddy, and yet the second the sugar daddy wants to control them for having paid all this money, then it's like no one controls me, and it's like that's what the money was for. He takes care of all your needs, and he gets a degree of control over you. I don't think that I can't live like that. No, I don't think so. You said that all your needs are taken care of. Your food, your water are taken care of. But to me, the most important need of all is the freedom, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So they got their life taken care of.
It's hard. You get a little bit anthropomorphizing, because I know, like, you have a dog. If you have a dog or a cat, like, they always want to come back to you. Like, they would die out there in the streets. Most of them, many of them.
Yeah.
So
somebody would kill them or harm them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because we have cars and all the other shit. If wild animals, they die in the street, squirrels die in the street. You don't want to go scoop up all the squirrels and put them in homes, do you? Like, squirrels are always getting killed by cars.
Yeah.
Rabbits, I see dead rabbits almost every day this time of year. Like, we don't think if we had look at dogs in places like Mexico and the Middle East and stuff. Those dogs are doing fine. You know, some of them are dying, but some of them they're happy, loving their lives.
But I scooped up a dog off the streets of Mexico and brought them here, and they got back surgery because they had a effed up back. And they were adopted out and got back surgery. And I'm like, and a lot of the dogs, you couldn't save them because they were vicious and they didn't want to be helped and whatever. But a lot of them would come up to you and like were all cute and sweet, and you could
Yeah,
tell
when
they wanted
I spent a lot of time in
somebody.
Mexico, and they come up and they want to get scruffled. They love humans. It's not like they act like wild dogs. They're a little wild, right? But they're not wild. They're still around humans. So I don't know. I think that I wouldn't want to be in I feel like maybe dogs would have been better off if we never domesticated the wolf. But like at this point, look at all these dogs with like anxiety problems and shit that people have. You don't think that's caused by the fact that they're locked up in a house all
Yeah.
day?
Yeah, but there's you would say that the dogs and the cats out there on the streets have anxiety problems. They're scared of everything, like looking both ways. You see the, little cameras of the cats chasing and attacking the other cats in the streets. And
Yeah.
you could see like the anxiety in them, and like even the wild horses. And then you see the calmness and the contentment of an
The
animal that's been
contentment,
well
docility.
socialized.
They're
If
docile. I think that their animal has been
Mhm.
taken out of them. That's what I think about humans too. That's like they're just lazy, and like that's what a lazy human is, right? They're just I guess it'll do nothing. I'll play. It's just that's the joie de vivre, right? That's what we want. We want to have the looking around like a wild horse. Look how like majestic a wild horse is, man. A
Mm.
Mustang is it's hard to find an animal more majestic, or even a symbol of more majesty greater than the
That's a
wild
hard
horse.
life. Like they're starving a lot of the times. Their feet are all mangled. Their teeth get long. Like
I'll take
they're
that over. I'll take that over
fighting.
captivity. I'll take it over
Yeah, I don't know.
captivity.
I think of like some humans who are like less disciplined, more feral.
Mhm.
Uh, a lot of humans like left to their own devices who don't get any structure in their life can be pretty miserable, who haven't like set themselves like don't exercise, don't eat right. I've become addicted to a drug of some kind, which is
Yeah.
a very man-made thing. I get it. Um, I
But
wonder, like,
don't you think they
is
want the
that
drug to make them more wild? Isn't that what they want? I don't know. I feel like that's what
mm,
they like the drug makes them more like animalistic or something. Like not to be
I don't
poetic
know.
about drug use, but I think there's something
I don't
there.
I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know how much we're projecting our own things onto
Mm,
others, and we got to be careful not to set policy based on our own projections. And
true.
I think of like Joe Rogan.
Better to do with humans than animals though, right?
Joe Rogan, like on his show, was like talking to somebody who's into AI or something like that. And he's
Yeah.
like, how are we going to get humanity up to speed and like adjusted to the new AI future? And I think the guest was like was grappling with this and asked her like, what do you think is going to happen? What's going to cause people to change in order to adjust to this new reality? Like, because there's jobs are going to go away, all these sorts of things. And Joe Rogan, and you could see what his core motivator was. And he's like, it's
Mm,
going to take desperation. People are going to have to be desperate, and that's what will force them to change, which is my fundamental disagreement with Joe Rogan, because I think of all of the times in my life where I was like desperate for money and just to survive and get by and all things. And I made bad choices in order to get money. And
mhm,
I took jobs that were not the most ethical, and I stayed at jobs too long that were not good and did not contribute to society, and I did things that did not contribute to society in good ways. And then when I get money, I can make the choice to take jobs and do things with my time in my life that do contribute more to society and are better for me and for everybody else around me. And I think of like Joe Rogan too. Once he's got his money, he's no longer desperate.
mhm.
He can like sit back and make better choices But
Right. So what, I guess the question is like, I guess it ties back to the jungle too. Like, what happens to all these people if there is no money? What happens if there's no money at all? No bosses.
I think a lot of people have the idea that if everybody's needs are met, people are going to be lazy and
The
not do
lazy class.
anything.
It's
But
funny, the lazy class. We always hear about that. People, it's, I've been reading a lot of anarchist philosophy and stuff lately, and
mhm,
it comes up a lot, like the threat of the lazy class. And it's even back then in the early 1900s when they were talking about these things, the lazy class was the billionaire. They didn't have billionaires back then, but like
yeah,
the ultra rich. Those were the lazy class. Those were the people that weren't doing anything. The ultra rich, the people who had enough and were doing okay. The people who had all their needs met, they were doing fine. They weren't lazy class. Farmers aren't lazy class. Like, they're out there working. People want to do stuff. It's, to me, like this threat of the lazy. First of all, I don't think it matters if a portion of our society is playing video games and masturbating all day. I don't think that's a horrible thing. Like, we're just going to have some people that do that all the time. We have them now. They're called billionaires. That's what they do. They don't do anything. The Cargill family, they're not doing anything. They're just
yeah.
owning stuff. You
Yeah, I
know?
wonder what they're doing with their time, actually. But I do see rich people who, just play golf
Yeah.
and go on these vacations and don't contribute.
By playing golf, they get richer because their money's making them more money, even in
Mhm,
savings accounts. At that level, even in a
mhm.
savings account, their money is bringing them millions of dollars a year. So that's the lazy class. And then the rich always want to say that if you guys all had all this money, you'd be lazy. Well, dude, you're the ones playing golf all the time.
Yeah. Is there the idea that like they worked hard and like because of their discipline amass that money and so they will not whatever, and there's the myth that like the children of the rich because they have get all these privileges are then spoiled and they become the drug addicts and the
Yeah,
useless kids. But
they're the
is
lazy
that
class.
true though?
The
Do
percentage
they?
of people who are billionaires are the ones that were inherited a large amount of wealth. Like, almost all of them inherited large amounts of
Mhm,
wealth. So I think it's sort of true. Well, first of all, I think there's sort of a myth of the lazy class, that
mhm.
there's this whole class of people that are just going to be naturally lazy if they get everything they want for free. But we know in reality who the lazy class is. It's actually a smaller percentage of our populace, and it's the ultra rich. They're the lazy class, and there aren't that many of them. The people who have everything they want and they don't do anything with it. There's plenty of people who are well off that actually still work and want to help others, and
Mhm.
even ones that made money. There's people who made money on by luck. And what do? A lot of those guys that make money by luck, they go and they give it back and they go work in nonprofits and stuff. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's no such
Yeah.
thing as this lazy. The lazy class is a very small percentage of us, and they're at the very, very top. That's the lazy
Yeah.
class. And they're always trying to convince us that the lazy class are the people at the bottom, the poor people. If we gave them money, that they wouldn't aspire. That's BS. It's a lie.
Mhm.
I wanted to don't mind billionaires. You don't mind billionaires. That doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
Eh,
It doesn't surprise me that Big Girl Salad doesn't mind
I mean,
billionaires.
yeah, we've got what is that type like checks all the boxes just for a certain mindset and philosophy. And what do you do with somebody with that mindset and philosophy?
Yeah,
Just it's like were you the bully in did you always kind of admire the bully in high school
yeah, they
or
love
were
the
you the
jocks.
bully in high school? Is that like the epitome like the jocks the
Like, what was
is
that little guy, the Salacious Crumb or whatever, that little dude that sits next to Jabba the Hutt. He sits next to Jabba the Hutt, and every time
mm,
Jabba the Hutt says something, he laughs. That's all he
mm,
does. He just laughs at everything Jabba says. That's what I think of, like.
yeah
That's all. It's in every movie too, of like a high school. There's the jock who's like, "Yeah, you better not," whatever, says something, and then, "Good joke, Butch." Like, always just
yeah
like bootlicker.
that's I wonder like who do you identify with Big Girl Salad in the have you ever seen the movie Mean Girls like who's the coolest person in Mean Girls?
Because Donald Trump is Regina George. So who's the coolest person in Mean Girls? Okay, so I wanted to at least look very quickly because in New York Times read a story about how ICE agents and Glen Valley Foods. Glen Valley Foods. Do you remember they had the thing? They arrested a bunch of people out there in Omaha, and it was a big deal because it was in Omaha, and it was half of their workforce now. Now we have a report out. It was 50% of their workforce was taken by ICE. So what do you do now? The article in the New York Times goes into it, but the thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly was Iowa. Sentient Media did a great report about Iowa, and I thought we can just look really quickly at that. JBS is something that I think about all the time, and let me just get this queued up real fast. JBS is a Brazilian company that operates in the United States. They're one of the big guys. They control a giant percentage of pork, and one of their pork processing plants in Ottumwa just lost 10% of their workforce. And in Ottumwa, a small town, that's 10% of the entire town that is about to be disappeared. They just had all of their visas revoked. They were not here illegally. Let's hear.
Workers in Ottumwa are being told to leave the country. The mayor there, Rick Johnson, made the announcement at a city council meeting earlier this month. Johnson says JBS sent notices to more than 200 employees from Haiti and Cuba that their work visas are revoked. The city's mayor says this is a shock.
KCI senior reporter Todd Magel shows us what this could mean for the city of Ottumwa.
JBS, a pork processing plant here in Ottumwa, is the city's largest employer, and losing workers would be bad news for the city.
When you have 200 people leave the community, it's a very sad, disheartening thing that it's happening, but it definitely has a negative impact on our community.
Ottumwa Mayor Rick Johnson is upset after the JBS announcement. He says plant workers from Haiti, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua got a letter saying they are terminated and must leave the country immediately. The meatpacking union is also concerned, saying all the workers have legal work visas before they were revoked and broke no laws.
They just did what everybody else wanted to do. They wanted to come here for a decent job, to have a better life and support their families and themselves. And it's like the rug got jerked out from underneath them because of some political decisions, which I don't personally agree with.
Mayor Richards is also unhappy with the crackdown, especially when the same meatpacking workers were called essential workers during COVID.
I find that so insulting, by the way.
You have no idea if this is the tip of the iceberg, if this is all that's going to take place, or is there going to be more employees down the road that are also going to have their work visas revoked. It's very alarming and very concerning to me, and I think to our whole community.
The people who have to leave their jobs here at the plant say they now have to self-deport, but there's been no timeline set up on how soon or when that has to happen. In Ottumwa, Todd Magel, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
So it's immediately. The word immediately was what they used. You're fired and you have to leave immediately. The problem is that some of them have been here for up to 25 years, and they have kids who live here. What do? Some of them even have businesses that they had opened. They have like side gigs. They have businesses. They have employees. They have kids that have businesses in this town. These people came to this country legally, contributed greatly to this little Ottumwa, and they were even called essential workers, and now they're being kicked out, having done nothing wrong.
I mean, why did Trump put JBS on the New York Stock Exchange? Is it on the Stock Exchange now?
It's on the New York Stock Exchange, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I should invest and see what his plan. Like, is he he does these things, I think, to purposefully drop the price, and then he buys it and then shoots up. So maybe now is the time to buy some JBS.
I think that's, like, to put my tinfoil hat on, I think he's going to arrest people and have them work for free at these meatpacking plants.
Either way, it's good for JBS. Yeah.
Right. If JBS lowers their workforce, it's right now, the mayor didn't say exactly, but he said he was afraid that more people who work in that town at these plants will also get their visas revoked, which means that this is just 200 people at this 2,000 person plant. We don't know what percentage of their workforce is here on visas, but 10% of them have just disappeared. Well, they're going to be disappeared here in a little bit. They don't have jobs. They have, and having run businesses, if 10% of your workforce is just doesn't show up for work, this is a big problem. It's hard to run a business that way, which means that the other employees, here's something really fun, and here's something, why do I think that no tax on overtime is already a thing, right? All of the people left over will have to work more hours, but so they'll happily pick up the slack. All these people are going to be like, well, I'm making more money, I'm working overtime. Great. Well, no tax on overtime only lasts for 3 years. So what is going to happen at the end of 3 years? What's the plan? You can't have people on overtime forever, and they're not going to be tax-free forever. Yes, sir, slave labor. Yes, trade employees to call them it. Okay, this is only the beginning. It is only the beginning. And the fear that mayor was experiencing, they've had to change with the times. Last year when I drove across America, I went to a lot of small towns that had truly diverse small towns in America where people think only white people live, and it's actually much more diverse than you think in places like Nebraska and Iowa, because they need people to work in these meat packing places or soy production places or whatever. And now they're disappearing these people. And I think replacing them with slave labor. I think that's what the plan is.
Yeah. My cow main stock is up 2.78 percentage points today. We're up 19.7% since I bought it. While it was high, I bought it. So I'm going to buy some JBS stock today.
Well, how's JBS doing? It's newly on the market.
It's been pretty steady around the $13 range. Stock chart, and we can look at it.
Well, before we do, the other article that I just wanted to check out very quickly was in Iowa, the same place that we just were talking about. They are in this they're having a problem. There was an article in Sentient Media about them. An Iowa pig plant piles dead pigs and wafting sulfur dioxide. The video, we don't need to watch it, but it's just like of gas just going into the air from these pigs. Look at all these dead pigs outside. All of these bio waste cardboard boxes. They're just lined with plastic, and their cardboard boxes are going to put all those carcasses in there. Piles and piles of pigs. There are a number of
reminds me of the jungle, by the way.
Yeah, no
Same
kidding.
Thing.
And the anaerobic lagoons are also a way to contain and manage hog waste, which is, the big lagoons of crap that you smell. Blood and guts of thousands of hogs. The waste is flushed or piped into the lagoons, where anaerobic bacteria breaks down the organic material in order to extract the biogas, because they're going to use it to, I don't know, run fields or something. Look at the splatter on the wall behind these pigs. These photos are just crazy.
In an interview with industry news outlet The National Provisioner, Seaboard's Triumph's vice president and general manager said, "We all have one common goal, and that's doing pork the right way." According to photos and videos reviewed by Sentient from inside of the plant, doing pork the right way includes stacking dead pigs multiple feet high inside and outside of the facility and emitting hazardous gases into the atmosphere.
Yeah, remarkable, right? This is doing pigs the right way, I guess. I highlighted that too because it reminded me of the anti-Prop 12 review thing that we saw for the House Committee of Agriculture, and every single person who is a pork producer, they always say that, right? We just want to do pigs the right way. We always have these 3 criteria that we always look out for the best interest of these pigs. And then you see the footage, and it's blood and guts in the lagoons. It's dead pigs stacked 6 feet high. And this is doing pigs the right way. What killed all those pigs?
short lifetime as a business, Seaboard Triumph Foods has already racked up fines for numerous environmental penalties and label violations, including failure to pay workers, safety risk violations, and utilizing a contractor that hired underage workers. The facility has been cited by the Iowa Department of Natural Resources for both failing to keep records of its emissions and exceeding biogas emissions limits for sulfur dioxide when it does keep them. Seaboard Triumph was fined $7,000 by the Iowa Department of Natural Resources on March 7th, 2025 for 1,920 hours of air quality violations. These fines account for a mere fraction of Seaboard's Triumph's revenue. They make it that in a minute, Barrows, who worked there for approximately 5 years, tells Sentient. The company slaughters approximately 20,000 to 22,300 hogs each day and exports to 26 countries. Yeah. And then there's just stuff on the ground.
And in the offices.
And then stuff leaking through the office. Yeah.
Yeah, it's leaking into the office, just blood on the floor, leaking into the office where the person's got their coat there. Like, this is where they work all day. And the EPA is who got them.
First formed in 2015, Seaboard Triumph plant now employs 2,800 people. When it comes to people, animals, and the environment, and the food we produce, the company touts on its website, our number one commitment is safety.
Yeah.
It's always whatever your badge is, whatever it is, if somebody like wears that badge, they're doing the opposite.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I love at the end, like the Iowa Department of Inspection, Appeals, and Licensing, where Iowa Occupational Safety, OSHA of Iowa, wrote to Sentient Media that an investigation has been opened and cannot comment further. So OSHA is having to get involved because we're gutting EPA. I don't think the EPA is going to do anything about this, but I think it's interesting that this all came about because of a tip to the EPA for all this poison that they're releasing. But these guys are not supposed to discharge anything at all to the local water system without a permit. Of course, they are discharging stuff into the water system without a permit. Who are they going to present the permit to if we've gutted the EPA? That's what the EPA is for.
If they could pay a $7,000 fine for 7 years and not have to install a $2 million system, they're going to keep paying the fine.
Right. And this is what you're supporting. People, they eat animals, and this is what they're supporting. And it's like, well, we don't care. I hear this all the time. Well, I don't care. I don't care what happens to these animals. Okay, fine. You don't care about animals. I don't know. You're a psychopath. You're a sociopath. That's fine. But you care about rivers and streams. You care about water. You care about drinking water. Like, do you care about air? Because people in Iowa are suffering. Do you care about fellow humans? They're suffering.
Yeah. No, I don't think. Usually that psychological profile doesn't care about any of that except for their own hedonistic interests. In 2010, a division of Smithfield Foods, John Morrell and Company closed in Sioux City, resulting in 1,450 job losses. When Seaboard Triumph Foods came in, the source says company management was convinced that they would need to bring in immigrant laborers. Seaboard Foods chief executive officer even told reporters that he was working with the state of Iowa to make Sioux City a refugee resettlement location.
Oh my God.
It didn't add up. We had a workforce that got laid off, and here they're saying there's not enough workforce. It was very weird from the very beginning. And that's like this. They were just saying Sioux City was like 60% white, and in a town of approximately 85,000, a little over 60% of the residents were white. The Hispanic population sits just under 22%, a larger proportion of the population than the United States as a whole. While Sentient was not able to verify the demographic breakdown of employees at Seaboard Triumph in 2018, 37.5% of slaughterhouse workers in the U.S. were foreign-born. When Seaboard Triumph allegedly recruited Micronesian citizens under false pretenses to work in the plant, the scheme received national attention and scrutiny. There is extensive evidence that the people who work in these facilities tend to be disproportionately undocumented. Sechi says, referring to slaughterhouses in general. Because of this, she says the number of employees experiencing health issues could be underreported, as undocumented workers could face the risk of deportation for speaking up.
So they're not going to speak up about the hydrogen sulfide gas, which is filling up the room where people are working, and they're filling up the rooms with this, and then they're letting that off into the atmosphere. You could take a copper penny and set it on your desk in your office, and within 3 days, the copper penny would be black from the stuff that's in the air. That's what it's like working in these places.
It's just like the jungle. Same thing.
Right. And it's like we haven't figured this out yet, which is embarrassing. Like here we are in 2025, the 21st century, and we're still doing it like this. This is like, it's as if we're doing it from 1901 or whenever the hell the jungle came out. And we're just allowing this to happen. And we're going to
we haven't advanced morally. We still incentivize psychopathy. We still incentivize sociopathy.
Right.
That's what we incentivize with our systems.
And I see people like in the chat saying, well, deport them. Deport who? Who are you talking about? Deport legal residents. Okay, so deport them. Who's going to do that job? You won't be eating animals for long. I say, you know what? If this is the one good thing that happens out of this, but it won't.
No, but because they're going to employ prisoners. We're going to imprison a bunch of people, and then we're going to employ them and pay them $1 an hour or $1 a day, whatever.
$1 a day. Yeah. $1 a day. We'll pay them $1 a day to go and work in places like this and die of diseases that they shouldn't ever be exposed to. Yeah. It's hideous. It's hideous. What are we going to do about it, Crystal?
Well, we have one idea is you can speak truth to power and get these great stories like Sentient wrote in the media. We're working on that. We're pitching to press, right? We're pitching our own stories to press, but we're also pitching op-eds, and you can be a part of that too. And we are seeking people. How do I add it to the stage? Do I got to remove something? Add to stage.
Right now. Here you go.
All right.
Oops.
So we have this plan of, if you are a writer and you want to write for us, tell us about it. And the thing is, veterinarians, we hold the credibility necessary to dismantle public trust in animal-based protein production and experimentation. And we have found that media outlets really want to publish the perspectives of veterinarians, but veterinarians don't have a lot of time to write and get their thoughts out there on paper. So we need people like you who can write to help us write some things, ghostwrite some things for some veterinarians, amplify animal rights ideas in major media outlets. So and I never wrote op-eds before a few years ago, and now I've written a ton. And so you can learn and you get better the more you do it. So if you are interested, you can reach out to us at info@ourhonor.org. We have some phrases we want to avoid. We are not a go vegan message. We would rather say support animal-free protein production, support access to animal-free meals, redirect public funds away from propping up antiquated animal-based methods of protein production, and support animal-free methods of protein production that will protect public health and our nation's food security. Instead of saying things like more humane, we use words like less cruel. Instead of saying factory farming, we say modern intensive animal-based protein production. Instead of saying vegan or worse yet plant-based, or worse than that plant forward, we use the words animal-free, slaughter-free, or slaughterless when talking about the types of foods that we want to support. So if you're interested in all of this, if you want to write something and we approve it and you get it published in something like the New York Times or the Washington Post, we will give you $1,000. If you get something published in Newsweek, the LA Times, USA Today, NBC News, Time Magazine, you will get $500. If you get something published in The Hill, Bloomberg Opinion, you'll get $400. If you get something published in Cal Matters, Miss Magazine, Teen Vogue, Vin, Jacobin, or The Guardian, you'll get $300. Something in Veterinary Practice News, Sentient Media, or local newspapers, you'll get $150. So DM us, info@ourhonor.org, with your piece. We will help you edit if we have the time, but
We'll help you any way
just
you can,
want
any
to
way we can.
incentivize that. Yeah. So send us a message, info@ourhonor.org, with the type of writing with your piece. And there's lots of resources online about how to write an op-ed, and there's basically there's different word counts for each outlet. So, do some Googling there about what the word count is for each of those, but start with a piece of like 600 words and have a thesis and back it up with scientific sources and reputable sources, reputable news outlets, or your primary sources, FOIA documents. You can even link to those, and say everything's factually, make an argument, prove your point with evidence, come to a conclusion, and there you go. And I believe in you. We need more people writing and getting these messages out there. So
we do, and we do have some vets that will gladly put their name attached to it too. I've got one at hopefully the Houston Chronicle will take my last one. I'm really hoping. I just checked to see if they published it. I don't know.
If they haven't, I would try somebody else.
Well, it's only been the weekend. Who knows? It's only it's Wednesday. I guess you're right. Maybe I'll try another outlet. Need to try another outlet. Yeah, got to try it out.
Yeah,
got to do something.
Take another look at it. See if you can make it, polish it. Every time I look at my piece, I go, "Oh, I could change that sentence, make that better."
Sure.
So that's why, sit down. It's amazing. You can pop out a piece in like an hour, but then put it away, and then the next day pull it out and kind of go like, "Oh, I'm gonna make it better. Here you go."
Yeah.
And then put it away. Then the next day, look at it again, and then you go, "Okay, I know I can make this better." And that's how you polish something. And
the pen is mightier than the sword,
or the keyboard, because do not write on paper. You can't search that.
I write on paper. I write things on paper. I like writing on paper.
Maybe you need to get one of those tablets where it converts it to text.
Well, I do both. I type, but I also I also write ideas. I don't know. I would forget everything. I wrote down Steven Crowder and Dean Carson, and to look up the Resolute desk. Who gave the president the Resolute desk originally? I heard it was Queen Victoria. I want to look it up and find out more about
What's
that.
the Resolute desk? See, I put it
desk.
in all those notes. I put them in a note to myself in Signal. So people who have hacked my Signal account and are spying on me through iCloud. There you go.
Yeah. It's known as the Hayes desk because it was given to President Hayes by it's been used by all the presidents of the United States in the Oval Office. It was a gift from Queen Victoria to Rutherford B. Hayes in 1880, and it was built from the oak timbers of the British Arctic exploration ship, the HMS Resolute. It was built from the timbers of the ship. Come on, that's pretty rad, right? The Resolute, the 1,300-pound, 590-kilogram desk. Geez, that's a heavy desk. Was created by William Evenden, a skilled joiner at Catham Dockyard in Kent, probably from a design by Morant, Boyd, and Blandford. The desk has been modified twice with a knee-hole panel in 1945 and a 2-inch tall plinth. Well, I don't know what that is. Added to the desk in 1961. So there you go. There's every president takes a picture of it. It was gifted in 1880 to the United States, and it sits in the Oval Office, the Resolute desk.
Interesting.
Yeah, or the Hayes desk. Most people call it the Resolute desk, but I guess there's some people call it the Hayes desk because it was Rutherford B. Hayes. Yeah, I think it's cool, right? And little X, what's his face's son, Elon Musk's son, wiped boogers on it. That was the Resolute desk that he's wiping the boogers on.
Yeah.
There's a famous picture of little John under the desk, kind of hiding out from his dad when JFK was in office. It's a famous desk. It's like the desk is always there, the Resolute desk. Yeah, that's where the president signs all the to go kill people, whatever, he signs those things there. It is cool. Thank you. Somebody thinks it's cool, that anyway, that's how I took it down. I wouldn't be able to whip out my phone and write Resolute desk. Let's send that on a Signal chat to myself.
Oh, now who's making a funny voice to make fun of somebody? Is that what I sound like to you?
I don't know. Do I sound like this?
Wow, now we're just being.
No, but like I wasn't really you. I really wasn't impersonating you. I was impersonating just like using my phone, like Resolute desk. It's gonna take me a couple seconds to type it. But meanwhile, if I have an idea while I'm talking, while I'm streaming,
so much faster than I can write something. I think
that's because you never learned how to write cursive. If you learned how to write cursive, you would write very quickly.
But then, how could I read it after?
You could, like, I don't know. I take notes all day. I make sure that I have all my things to do. Like today, I made a short, and I went with I talked to We the Free. I've worked on the Hour on our newsletter. I got my stuff here. That's how I stay organized, and I work my way through my list. And I don't know. Come on. If I have an ethical question, I write it down. Like, is morality subjective? Is Donner Party a lesson about how low information might be worse than over information?
How so?
The Donner Party,
because they went the wrong way, or like they took a risky path, and
it wasn't risky. They took advice from somebody.
They took advice from somebody who was bad, malinformation.
Who had low info. Yeah, bad info, wrong time of year. It's gonna be great. Go that way. It's faster. And they all ended up eating each other. So is over information versus lower information? Is Donner Party evidence that low info is worse than?
My sister did a podcast on the Donner Party that you should probably check out. Because I think like the Astrology of Terrible Things is her podcast, and she went to the Astrology of the Donner Party. So you might want to check that out.
I would love to. Astrology of Terrible Things. I want to talk about the Donner Party on Ethical Underground this week, and mostly in reference to this low info versus high info.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what could be a better way to live if you had to choose between being too little info, like they were in the 1850s, versus what we have today, which is too much info? How does that affect your ethics?
Yeah. Here, I'm going to put the link to the, if you have Spotify. If you don't have Spotify, I don't know what to do with.
I don't have Spotify, but I have it on, but she's probably on YouTube and all that. I wrote it down with my cursive. I wrote Astrology of Terrible Things. And it's also color coded. If it's in red, it means look it up. If it's in blue, it means I've. Yeah, see, it all works out that way. I want to say thank you to everybody who came today and checked out our All Beings Considered. And please catch us on Monday. Crystal and I have another. Well, actually, first of all, on Friday, we're doing FOIA Friday. And Crystal's got some good stuff she wants to share on FOIA Friday this week. It's our 1 hour show at 4 o'clock on Friday. Don't forget, Monday, we have back-to-back now, 3 weeks in a row, Vegan World Radio. I don't know what we're going to talk about this Monday, but I kind of want to talk more about baboons, but that might be a whole.
Oh, really?
I kind of want to look up what's going on in like Houston zoos and other types of euthanasia situations that have happened and see what this can't be the first time.
I don't think it's the first time, but we could do a whole thing on monkeys, because I could really dive into Marburg and the Ebola outbreak in Western Virginia in 1989, because there's a Charles River Lab Worldwide Primates link. And I went to the Miami trial that also involved Charles Rivers Labs, and
we could talk about the escaped
primates.
Monkeys in the Carolinas. Remember all those monkeys escaped and they're living in Carolina. Or and there's a monkey lab in Texas too. There's a monkey breeding facility in Texas somewhere.
And I could talk to you about what I learned at VMX about. I went to a whole talk on New World monkeys, and it was by a very pro lab animal person, but I walked away horrified. And I will tell you what I learned about how we're treating those poor little monkeys.
That sounds amazing. Paul Campbell says freedom of information is a big deal in Ireland. Well, make sure you come in on Friday and look at Freedom of FOIA Friday. I love this. So it's Monkey Business Monday. We're going to talk about monkeys.
All right.
Monkeys. I got to look up monkey stories too. We'll convene on Monday live on the FM dial 90.1 in Houston and kpft.org streaming for Vegan World Radio. And in the meantime, I want to say thank you to everybody for being here. Please subscribe to Crystal and Our Honor on YouTube. If you haven't already hit the like and subscribe button, please do now. Jackie Boyle and Kathy, thank you for contributing to the channel. I appreciate you.
I have 2,003 subscribers on YouTube. Should I shave my head for every 1,000 YouTube subscribers I get?
Do you have how many?
2,003 now.
Ooh, so we should
be personal YouTube.
We should be monetized over on your personal YouTube.
I don't know.
At the watch hours.
The watch hours aren't good, right? Yeah. They're not enough still. Last I checked.
Start posting.
Yeah. We
need to start posting more shorts over there. That's how you get it.
Yeah, I do need to do that. That's a me problem.
Well, for a while when I was doing my channel, I had like 8,000 watch hours. My watch hours were great, and I could not hit that 1,000 subscribers. So I think that you're better.
Yeah, no, I've had the 1,000 subscribers for a while. So right now my public watch hours are going down. So I had in the last 365 days, 1,372, and I need 4,000. So if you could all go onto my YouTube and please watch my stuff. Check it out. There's lots of stuff there.
Are we posting Our Honor stuff to the?
I'm posting some of my stuff there, but we're not posting Our Honor stuff there.
We should. Why not?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I'll think about it. I just want to post my stuff. Sometimes I post your stuff, but yeah.
Everything with you in it is your stuff. What do you mean?
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
I gotta ponder this for a while. What I'm gonna do with that channel. So
I don't know. I've never had my phone. My phone doesn't ring. I don't know why I don't know what that was all about.
Ringing?
I heard, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why I heard a phone ringing, but it wasn't me. All right.
I got a silver alert. That's what disconnected me for a while, because then it made my AirPods transfer over to my phone.
Oh, was it for the tsunami?
No, it was some old person. It was a silver alert. Some old person went astray. But I don't.
Well, I'm just glad you're okay with you're not being hit by the tsunami. I'm glad that we made it through the tsunami warning.
I know we will survive. For sure.
We made it. Yeah. When they started saying that we might get hit by 2 to 3 meter waves, I was like, man, I used to surf on 2 meter waves here. Like that's pretty common where I live. So,
but from what I understand, the entire water level would rise 2 or 3 meters. It would come inland. And that would be a problem. Although I'm on the 7th floor, so I'm fine.
I think you're far enough away that it's not going to hit you. That's just how I think. We have mountains between me and I guess the creek could, because the creek goes to the ocean. But I think I'll be safe. I think I'm okay. I'm more worried about fires than floods.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for watching. This is All Beings Considered. See you next Wednesday. Don't forget Friday for Friday, and Monday we'll be here for Vegan World Radio. Thanks, everybody.